Chapter 1425. Skybolt Pig's heart skipped a beat. In actuality, General Weiwu had told him that Lin Yi was a doctor as well as a practitioner, and he had Zhongliju's medical notes. He could be considered as Zhongliju's medical inheritor, and it wasn't impossible for Skybolt Pig to follow him out. After all, Zhongliju had told Skybolt Pig before he died that if other doctors met him, he could go with them and help them with their medical practice. This was Zhongliju's wish as well. Zhongliju had never met a suitable disciple in his life. It was hard to find a good teacher, but it was also hard to find a good disciple. Zhongliju was a strict man, and he would rather have nothing than a substandard disciple. In the end, he couldn't find a suitable disciple, and he could only regretfully bring all his knowledge into the tomb, waiting for the right person to visit the tomb and inherit what he had learned. So Zhongliju's tomb was designed in a very strange and ingenious way. After figuring it all out, Lin Yi admired Zhongliju. First of all, in order to enter the tomb and take Skybolt Pig away, one had to be someone who could communicate with spirit beasts. Lin Yi couldn't do it yet, but General Weiwu could, and so Lin Yi and the others entered the tomb without a hitch. Otherwise, they would have been stopped by the spirit beast guarding the tomb. This was Zhongliju's first test. If he could communicate with a spirit beast, then he could enter the tomb, but if this person wasn't a doctor and was just a normal tomb raider, then the poison mist and arrows would be enough to kill the person who visited the tomb. Of course, if they were a doctor, then they could detoxify the poisons. This kind of person was what Zhongliju was looking for as a medical inheritor. As for the character and other things, it wasn't something Zhongliju could care about. It didn't matter if the character was good or bad. As long as they were skilled in medicine and could communicate with spirit beasts, then they could be considered as his people. Plus, Zhongliju had saved countless people in his life, but his character was a mix of good and evil, and he wasn't a rigid person. This was somewhat similar to Lin Yi's character. The Skybolt Pig had obtained even better benefits than when he was crazily eating medicinal herbs, so he immediately waved his hands in front of Lin Yi. Lin Yi was a little speechless. Wasn't this little thing a little too snobbish? Previously, it wouldn't leave no matter what I said. Now that I've given it some benefits, it came to please me. Xiao Wei, tell it that if it wants to level up, it has to come with me, Lin Yi said to General Weiwu, asking him to pass on his message. However, before General Weiwu could say anything, Skybolt Pig leaped up and hugged Lin Yi tightly as if he was afraid that Lin Yi would change his mind and not bring him along. Woof woof. General Weiwu pointed at Skybolt Pig and then at Lin Yi's mouth. It was obvious that this little guy could understand Lin Yi's words. Oh! Lin Yi was taken aback, but he nodded immediately. Since Zhongliju could communicate with Skybolt Pig, it meant that Skybolt Pig could understand human language. This guy had always understood Lin Yi's words, and this pissed him off. Did this little thing laugh at him when he asked General Weiwu to pass on his message? Stupid pig, you can understand my words. Lin Yi glared at Skybolt Pig. Oink oink. Skybolt Pig nodded in fear, afraid that Lin Yi would get angry and not bring him along. Let's go. Lin Yi couldn't be bothered to argue with an animal. He pulled Skybolt Pig down from his body and threw it on the ground. Walk by yourself. Oink oink. Skybolt Pig wanted to hug Lin Yi's body because he felt that Lin Yi's body was like a spirit, filled with the energy of heaven and earth. Just a little bit of it and he'd be able to benefit from it. Xiaoke saw how cute Skybolt Pig was, and she couldn't help but reach out to touch it. Suddenly, Lin Yi's jade sent a warning signal. Lin Yi was startled, and although he didn't know what danger was about to happen, he still called out subconsciously, "Careful." Ah! Xiaoke didn't expect that the moment she touched Skybolt Pig, all the hair on its body stood up, and it turned into an angry beast. It pricked Xiaoke's hand, causing it to bleed. Why does this little guy look like a porcupine? Xiaoke quickly retracted her hand and started sucking on her finger. I didn't think that it could protect itself. Lin Yi smiled and shook his head. This little guy didn't have any attacking abilities, but it had defensive abilities. The jade warning was because Skybolt Pig was going to prick Xiaoke. Yeah, it won't even let me touch it. Xiaoke didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She touched it and got pricked. With the addition of Skybolt Pig, Lin Yi didn't plan on disturbing the owner of Zhongliju's tomb anymore. He already got what he wanted, and Lin Yi wasn't a greedy person. Lin Yi's goal in this tomb was to find the fire spirit's fruit. So, when Elder Yu took the chi-gathering pill, Lin Yi didn't feel bad about it, and he didn't chase after him and risk his life to get it back. Lin Yi didn't need to waste his energy on something that wasn't useful to Lin Yi. With Skybolt Pig and General Weiwu, Lin Yi and Xiaoke quickly retreated through the death door. It was a safe and stable journey, and they didn't meet any danger. It seemed like their guess was right. Wherever Skybolt Pig was, there was no danger. They retreated until they reached the exit of the life door and death door, and Xiaoke suddenly felt dizzy. Male thief. I'm a little dizzy, can we rest for a bit? Xiaoke was confused as to why she felt dizzy, but from her perspective, it was most likely due to the lack of oxygen in the tomb for too long. Oh, dizzy. Lin Yi paused. What's wrong? The air in the tomb was thinner than the outside world, but it shouldn't affect someone like Xiaoke who was used to harsh environments. Even old He didn't feel any pressure, so why would Xiaoke? As a result, Lin Yi was curious about Xiaoke's sudden dizziness. As a doctor, especially since there were many dangers in the tomb, Lin Yi still asked her nervously. I don't know, maybe it's because the air in the tomb is thinner? Xiaoke said uncertainly. Chapter 1426. Wait. Jade. Lin Yi suddenly remembered that the jade did warn him when Yu Xiaoke was petting the pig. Lin Yi quickly grabbed Yu Xiaoke's hand. Yu Xiaoke didn't think that Lin Yi would grab her hand so suddenly. She thought that Lin Yi wanted to comfort her because of her dizziness, and she blushed. Their relationship became more and more intimate after this trip to the tomb. Yu Xiaoke's heart couldn't help but race, and this time was no exception. However, after Lin Yi grabbed Yu Xiaoke's hand, he didn't do anything else. Instead, he checked Yu Xiaoke's wound. So it's like this. Lin Yi saw that Yu Xiaoke's wound was red and swollen, and he nodded in realization. Tianlei pig's thorns are poisonous. Ah! Poisonous! Yu Xiaoke felt that the wound on her hand was indeed itchy after hearing what Lin Yi said. Stupid pig, give me the antidote. Lin Yi kicked Tianlei pig and said, Oink oink. Tianlei pig felt wronged, as if he was expressing his innocence. He didn't do it on purpose, but he instinctively defended himself when Yu Xiaoke got close to him. Lin Yi couldn't understand Tianlei pig's words, but General Weiwu could. Woof woof. General Weiwu pointed at Yu Xiaoke and waved its paw, then it made a sleeping posture. Oh. It means that the poison isn't a big deal, and you'll be fine after sleeping, Lin Yi explained to Yu Xiaoke. I see. Yu Xiaoke sighed in relief. Is there any way to cure it? Lin Yi asked again. Oink oink. Skybolt Pig heard Lin Yi's words and was a little unwilling, but after thinking about it for a while, he walked over to Xiaoke and used his front paw to pull out a hair from his body. He poked Xiaoke's hand with the hair on the other side of the hair follicle. Ah! Xiaoke cried out in pain. However, Lin Yi didn't stop him. He knew that the pig was trying to cure Yu Xiaoke's poison. If he dared to harm Yu Xiaoke again in front of Lin Yi, then he wouldn't be able to live anymore. Gigi, the Skybolt Pig, threw away its fur and shook its body, telling Lin Yi that the poison had been detoxified. Hey! How miraculous! The wound on my hand isn't itchy anymore, and I don't feel dizzy anymore. Yu Xiaoke exclaimed in surprise. This little thing is so miraculous. Next time, watch your enemies carefully. If you poke people again, I'll kick you out, Lin Yi said to the pig. Gigi, the Skybolt Pig, nodded to show that it understood. After leaving the tomb through the life door, Lin Yi brought Xiaoke, Skybolt Pig, and General Weiwu, jumping up to the cliff on the side. Lin Yi ran like he was flying, and Yu Xiaoke's qinggong was good as well. The two humans and two beasts soon arrived at the nearby town. Flying Sparrow, let's part ways here. We can get on the train from here. Lin Yi pointed at the train station. We'll meet again. We're going to part ways. Yu Xiaoke looked at Lin Yi, unwilling to leave. Since she was young, other than her master, the male thief was the one who cared for her the most. Yu Xiaoke would remember this tomb-raiding experience for the rest of her life. She would never forget how the male thief had saved her from danger time and time again. Haha, go back and live a good life. Don't come out anymore, and I won't do it anymore. I can't take care of you anymore, Lin Yi said to Yu Xiaoke. Oh. Yu Xiaoke nodded, a little disappointed. The male thief said that he was looking for a spiritual medicine for his girlfriend, so it was normal for him to give up. Then, will we meet again? Xiaoke knew that her question was a little silly. The male thief wasn't raiding tombs anymore, and she wasn't participating in missions like this anymore. The chances of the two of them meeting each other were basically zero. Perhaps they would never see each other again. If there are no accidents, I don't think so. Lin Yi smiled. The identity of the male thief was coming to an end. This person wasn't Lin Yi in the first place, it was Lin Yi in disguise. Now that the mission was over, naturally, he wouldn't pretend to be the male thief anymore unless Lin Yi had nothing better to do. I see. Yu Xiaoke already knew the answer, but she only gave up after asking it. All right, let's part ways here. Lin Yi said. You're very pretty, and a kind girl. I hope you find the happiness that belongs to you. How could Lin Yi not know what Yu Xiaoke was thinking? But Lin Yi really didn't have the mood to develop anything with her. One was because of the restrictions of his identity, and the other was because he was worried about Xiaoxiao's safety. Oh! Yu Xiaoke lowered her head, as if she understood what the male thief meant. But she suddenly raised her head again and gathered her courage. Then, can you take off your mask and let me see your face? No. Lin Yi rejected her decisively. What kind of joke was this? Wouldn't you recognize me if I took it off? Just one look. Just one look, I won't tell anyone. Yu Xiaoke begged. What difference does it make? Lin Yi said faintly. At least, let me have a good memory. Yu Xiaoke said after some hesitation. All right, how about this? Perhaps we'll meet again. I'll appear with my original face, and if you recognize me, I won't deny it. Is that okay? Lin Yi said helplessly. Oh. Yu Xiaoke didn't think much about it. She thought that the male thief was just trying to brush her off. All right, I'm leaving. Take care. Lin Yi said and turned around, bringing General Weiwu and Skybolt Pig with him as he walked away. Male thief, I like you. Yu Xiaoke looked at the back of the male thief and finally gathered enough courage to shout out her heart. Yu Xiaoke wasn't a shy girl. In fact, she dared to love and hate. She felt that if she didn't voice out her feelings now, she wouldn't have another chance in the future. Lin Yi's footsteps paused for a moment, but he continued to walk forward as usual. I'll definitely find you. Yu Xiaoke shouted out her heart and became bolder. Although I don't know what you look like, it's rare to see a dog and a pig with you. I just need to remember them, and I'll find you. Chapter 1427. Looking at General Weiwu and Skybolt Pig beside him, Lin Yi wanted to cry but no tears came out. Wasn't this too obvious? Lin Yi decided that he must hide Skybolt Pig well when he got back. He must never bring him out. It's decided. Xiaoke saw that Lin Yi didn't answer her, and she couldn't help but feel sad and disappointed. She shook her head, turned around, and quickly ran to the bus station. She suppressed her feelings deep in her heart. Once she returned to the orphanage, she would become the old Xiaoke again. She would work hard for the children every day. Xiaoke, you can do it. Xiaoke cheered herself on. And so, she smiled again. Lin Yi seemed to have left, but in fact, he watched Xiaoke get into the car before leaving with General Weiwu and Skybolt Pig. The car they took was Chen Yutian's, and he probably drove back already. So, Lin Yi didn't go back to the campsite. He took off his mask and took a taxi back to Songshan. Returning to the familiar villa, Lin Yi pressed the doorbell. Lin Yi didn't bring the key when he left. Not long after, footsteps came from the villa. Lin Yi could tell that it was Yushu. Shield bro. Yushu opened the door and saw Lin Yi standing outside. She exclaimed in excitement, Yaro Yaro sis, Shield bro is back. Yushu ran towards Lin Yi after shouting. Her chest was jiggling, and it made Lin Yi excited. He hadn't seen it for a long time. It was great that he could get such benefits as soon as he came home. Hurried footsteps came from the villa again. Meng Yaro came out as well. Seeing Lin Yi, she smiled happily. Lin Yi, you're back. I'm back. Lin Yi nodded to the miss. The miss had gotten a lot friendlier these days. How are you guys? Did anything happen at home? Lin Yi's words made Meng Yao's face dim. Something happened, Zhu Jiaming seems to be injured. I don't know the details, but can you go check on him? Wu Chentian is heavily injured as well, and is resting in your room with Zhu Jiaming. Wu Chentian? Lin Yi blinked. Why is he here? Lin Yi couldn't be blamed for his surprise. His relationship with Chentian had never been that good. There wasn't any deep hatred between them, but Chentian did see him as a rival in love. Why would he come here to recover after getting injured? Well, it's a long story. Meng Yao didn't know how to tell her about Chentian. Why don't you ask Zhu Jiaming? All right. Lin Yi didn't really care if Chentian was injured or not, but Zhu Jiaming was injured as well. Lin Yi nodded and quickly walked into the room. Lin Yi didn't need to care about Skybolt Pig. General Weiwu would take it to where it belonged. Oh, what's this? Why's it so cute? Yu Shu was surprised to see the Skybolt Pig behind Lin Yi. A little pig. Lin Yi said. It's called Skybolt Pig. It's used to find the fire spirit's fruit. What a cute pig, Yu Shu said, reaching out to pet the pig. Right, we've been talking about Zhu Jiaming. How's the fire spirit's fruit? Meng Yao was worried about Xiaoxiao's safety as well. Not in the tomb, but there's some news. I'll go check on Gauden first. We'll talk about the fruit later. Lin Yi glared at Skybolt Pig. Look at whose friend, they're all on our side. If you hurt them again, you'll get a beating. Oink, oink. Skybolt Pig nodded hard. Yu Shu and Meng Yao went to study Skybolt Pig, and Lin Yi quickly walked into his room. Gauden heard the sound as well, but he had no strength left in his body. Other than barely being able to talk, he could only lie on the bed. Chentian, on the other hand, was in an even worse state. His meridians were all broken, and his organs were all shifted. Boss, you're back. Gauden finally smiled when he saw Lin Yi walk in. I didn't disappoint you, I finally made it. What's wrong with you, kid? You've only been here for a short while, and you've already learned how to talk. Lin Yi knew about Gauden's situation, and he could roughly guess what was going on. Overexertion? Yeah. Gauden nodded. It's nothing. I can still hold on. Boss, you're good. Chentian was worried. After all, he had some conflict with Lin Yi, and he was afraid that Lin Yi wouldn't accept him. He'd be in big trouble then. Not only would he be heavily injured, but he'd also offended a bunch of noble houses. House Wu would be done for. Wu Chentian, since when did I become your big boss? Lin Yi blinked, confused as he looked at Chentian. Boss, let me tell you. Wu Chentian did his best when I was injured. Gauden had already accepted Chentian in his heart, and naturally, he wanted Lin Yi to accept him as well. And so, Gauden told Lin Yi everything that happened after Lin Yi left, including how he killed the two masters from House Pai, and then Jin Wudi. Then, Uncle Zhu brought Zhao Fafa to Tang Yun, and Chentian sacrificing himself. Oh! Lin Yi looked at Chentian, shocked. He didn't think that he would change like this. He actually accepted Gauden as his boss. Big boss, don't worry. I won't have any thoughts about Sun Jingyi anymore. She's my big sister-in-law now, and I'll protect her like how I protect Tang Yun. Chentian was afraid that Lin Yi would still remember what happened to Sun Jingyi, so he quickly explained. Me and Sun Jingyi, we don't have anything to do with each other. Lin Yi smiled bitterly after hearing what Chentian said. It doesn't matter if we have anything to do with each other or not. I've decided that I'll focus on learning martial arts from Boss and Big Boss. I hope Boss and Big Boss won't look down on me. Chentian quickly expressed his intentions. Ha! All right, I'll accept you. Lin Yi could see Chentian's sincerity. This person actually didn't have much conflict with Lin Yi, but because of Sun Jingyi, he was set up by Xiaoxiao a couple of times. Now that he was injured protecting Tang Yun, Lin Yi couldn't reject him. Chapter 1428. Having someone like Chentian as a bodyguard wasn't a bad idea, so Lin Yi decided to take him in. Chentian's face relaxed after hearing Lin Yi's words. Thank you, boss. But, I can't teach you much about physical martial arts, I don't have any special training experience. Lin Yi waved his hand and said, however, I can concoct some special potions that can transform the body for you. Soak your palms in it, and it should help your iron fist training a lot. Lin Yi was a physical practitioner as well, but he didn't have much of it, and he didn't have any practitioner's arts. He only used some of the old man's potions to change his body's muscles and bones, and this was one of the reasons why Lin Yi was stronger than normal practitioners. That's great, thank you, boss. Chen Tian said excitedly. He thought that Lin Yi would have to go through a period of testing before giving him some benefits, but he didn't think that Lin Yi would give him a greeting gift right away. In fact, Lin Yi did want to test Chen Tian, but time didn't allow it. Lin Yi wanted to find the fruit as soon as possible, and he didn't have much time left in Song's Han. He had to settle things here and go on a new journey, and so, since Gaodan had already tested Chen Tian, Lin Yi didn't need to test him again. At least, Lin Yi could see the sincerity in Chen Tian's eyes. No need to thank me, but don't be stupid and let people trick you again. Lin Yi looked at Chen Tian. You've been tricked by Xiao Xiao so many times, and that's fine, but you need to be smarter in the future. Don't always go out and act like you're cool. Xiao Xiao, didn't I get tricked by sis-in-law? We're family, so it's not tricked. Chen Tian explained awkwardly, but don't worry, boss, I'll be careful. Lin Yi nodded and didn't say anything else. Zhao Fafa brought a Zhu guy to cause trouble for Tang Yun. Is Zhao Chibing tired of living? After that, I analyzed it with Miss Chu. It should be because Uncle Zhu didn't know that Tang Yun was your girlfriend, boss, and Zhao Fafa didn't tell the truth, so they went to find trouble with Tang Yun's sis-in-law. Chen Tian explained. Big Boss. This name is a bit too weird. You can call me Big Boss Lin Yi from now on. You can also call me Zhu Jiaming, Lin Yi corrected. Alright, I'll call him Boss Lin Yi then. Chen Tian said straightforwardly. He'd call him whatever Lin Yi liked. You don't know? I can't just let it go if you don't know. But you're the one who's injured, so I'll respect your decision on how to deal with Zhao Chibing. Lin Yi raised his head and looked at Chen Tian. Do you want some benefits, or do you want to step on him yourself when you're strong enough? Chen Tian wasn't Tang Yun, so Lin Yi couldn't help him. Although he was Lin Yi's follower, there was still a difference between him and a woman. Can I? Boss Lin Yi, can I step on him myself? Chen Tian heard Lin Yi's words and his eyes lit up. Forget about the benefits, I want to step on him myself. Alright, I'll let you step on him yourself. Lin Yi sighed and decided to help Chen Tian increase his strength. He'd left, Gaodan had left as well, and he didn't feel safe leaving Uncle Fu here alone. The only person he could use right now was Wu Chen Tian. Boss Lin Yi, I'll wait for this day. No matter how much pain I have to endure, no matter how much effort I have to put in, I can endure it. As long as I can cripple that old man with my own hands, I'll be able to act cool for a moment. Chen Tian gritted his teeth and swore. Lin Yi was speechless at Chen Tian's pretentious attitude. He said unhappily, how many days do you want to wait? Endure hardships and endure. You can wait, but I can't. Chen Tian froze after hearing Lin Yi's words. What do you mean? Nothing. Tomorrow, you'll go and cripple that old man Zhu, then come back and stay in the villa peacefully as a bodyguard for Meng Yaro, Yu Shu, and Tang Yun. Lin Yi said. Tomorrow? Chen Tian opened his mouth and looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. He wondered if there was something wrong with his ears. He was still lying on the bed today. How was he going to take revenge tomorrow? Not to mention that his injuries weren't healed yet. Even if he did, he wouldn't be a match for Uncle Zhu. Tomorrow. Lin Yi nodded with certainty. Chen Tian, on the other hand, was very confused. He didn't know what Lin Yi was so confident that he could go to Uncle Zhu for revenge tomorrow. He asked, Boss Lin Yi, my injuries. And I'm not strong enough. Are you going to hug him and let me hit him? I'll heal your injuries, and I'll help you increase your strength, Lin Yi said. We'll talk about this later. I'll send Gaodan back first. I'm fine. I've been holding on for so many days already. A little more doesn't matter. Gaodan shook his head nonchalantly. We can't drag it any longer. Did you tell Yuan? I'm worried about you going back alone. I'll send you back to the train and have Yuan go home with you. Lin Yi asked. I did tell her about my injuries, but asking her to go back with me. I didn't ask, so I don't know if she'll go back with me. Gaodan scratched his head embarrassedly. Boss, I'm afraid that she'll reject. How do you know if you don't ask? Lin Yi was experienced. She'll go back with you. At first, Lin Yi wasn't sure if Tang Yun would go back with him, but she chose to go with him without hesitation. Then, I'll just ask. Gaodan hesitated and decided to call Yuan Yuan. He didn't let Lingshan leak the news of Yu Tian's injuries, and of course, that included Lin Yi. First, Yu Tian didn't want his sister to know. If he told Lin Yi, it would be the same as letting Yu Shu know. The siblings were very close, and Yu Tian was afraid that Yu Shu would be sad if she knew. Second, he didn't want Lin Yi to cause trouble for House Yu. Everyone had seen House Yu's strength in the tomb. It wasn't wise to ask Lin Yi to go to House Yu to avenge him. Lin Yi had more important things to do. Chapter 1429. Today, Lingshan had an appointment with Sun Jingyi from House Sunday. She wanted to talk about Chen Yutian. Although she knew that the chances were slim, she had to try no matter what. It was a coffee shop, and Lingshan was wearing sunglasses as she sat at a table in front of a glass window, waiting for Sun Jingyi to arrive. Sun Jingyi was still driving her red Audi A4L. What surprised her was that Wu Chentian didn't bother her at all. As Sun Jingyi returned to her peaceful days, she started to miss Lin Yi. Could it be that she really fell in love with this young man? Sun Jingyi denied this thought. Lin Yi didn't have anything worthy of praise, did he? He was just a big thief. How could he be worthy of her, Sun Jingyi? But Lin Yi wasn't just a big thief. He had other identities, and he wasn't weak either. In fact, Sun Jingyi couldn't find a reason to ask Lin Yi out again. So, she started to look down on Lin Yi in her heart, reminding herself not to be interested in Lin Yi anymore. Sun Jingyi parked her car in front of the coffee shop and walked in quickly. She saw Lingshan sitting by the window. Although Sun Jie didn't have much contact with House Song, Sun Jingyi still had an impression of this famous captain of the criminal investigation team. She had seen her on TV before. Recently, Lingshan had solved many big cases. Miss Sun. Hello. Lingshan, naturally, knew about Sun Jingyi's information beforehand. So, she recognized Sun Jingyi the moment she walked in. She stood up and waved. Sun Jingyi nodded and sat in front of Lingshan. Officer Song, why are you looking for me? Since they chose to meet in a coffee shop, it couldn't be about work. But Sun Jingyi couldn't understand why Lingshan wanted to meet her. They didn't seem to have any personal relationship. Call me Lingshan. This isn't the police station. Lingshan smiled. I'll call you Jingyi, is that okay? Of course, Sun Jingyi was even more confused. What was Lingshan trying to do? Jingyi, come sit. What would you like to drink? Lingshan smiled. Anything. Juice is fine. Sun Jingyi sighed and decided to skip the pleasantries. Her instincts told her that Lingshan wanted to meet her for something. So, Sun Jingyi decided to go straight to the point. Lingshan, why are you looking for me? It's like this. Lingshan was embarrassed that Sun Jingyi saw through her intentions. Then I'll be straight to the point, okay? House Sun's practitioner's arts. Which stage are you at? Only the first stage. Why? Could it be that you want to ask for House Sun's help during the Noble House meeting? Sun Jingyi couldn't figure out what Lingshan was thinking. At the moment, the only thing that could make the two interact was the Noble House meeting. That's not it. I just want to ask you to help heal someone. Lingshan said, finding it hard to bring up the topic. Heal someone? Sun Jingyi frowned. What do you mean? I'm not a doctor. How am I supposed to heal someone? His meridians are damaged. Normal doctors won't be able to help him. I can only ask for your help. Lingshan said carefully. Lingshan, since you're asking for my help, then you should know how special House Sun's practitioner's arts are, right? Sun Jingyi didn't reject her directly. She asked in a roundabout way. I know. But he really needs help. If he can't recover, then his family will never be able to recover. Lingshan said. So, I'm begging you from the bottom of my heart. You can help him, no matter what it is, just tell me. Lingshan, don't you think that your request is a little presumptuous? Sun Jingyi decided to tell the truth. This was a matter of principle. Sun Jingyi couldn't lie to Lingshan. I know it's a little presumptuous, but this is his last hope. Lingshan smiled bitterly. Forgive me for being blunt, but if I heal him, then the true qi produced in my body can only be used by him in the future. I am not related to him in any way. If it were you, would you do this? Sun Jingyi said faintly, unless you're my future husband. If not, then I'm sorry. It's fine. Actually, I already knew the result. Jingyi, don't be angry. Lingshan saw that Sun Jingyi was a little angry and quickly explained. I know you're worried. But, I really can't do this. Sun Jingyi rejected. Instead of begging me, you might as well get him a meridian opening pill. Meridian opening pill. Lingshan smiled bitterly. This is a treasure even in a hidden house. How am I supposed to get it? Sun Jingyi shrugged helplessly. It was true. The meridian opening pill was hard to come by even in a hidden house, let alone Lingshan. Otherwise, House Sun wouldn't have such a high position as one of the noble houses. Although House Sun's arts didn't just heal wounds, it could also increase a person's strength. But if the meridian opening pill was too common, House Sun wouldn't be able to rise to such a high position. I'm sorry, but that's not something I need to worry about. Sun Jingyi nodded to Lingshan. Lingshan, if there's nothing else, I'll be leaving first. Alright, thank you too. Lingshan sighed and was about to call the waiter for the bill when an ear-piercing alarm sounded. Lingshan raised her head and saw that there was a commotion at the bank across the street. The alarm was coming from the bank. Not good. Lingshan realized something immediately. Excuse me, she said to Jingyi before leaving the money on the table. She didn't even bother to keep the change, and ran out of the coffee shop as fast as she could. But, even so, Lingshan was one step too slow. A figure carrying a sack ran out of the bank. His speed and body were both super fast, and in the blink of an eye, he disappeared into the alley beside the bank. Lingshan felt a sense of familiarity as she looked at the disappearing silhouette, but she didn't have time to think about it. She crossed the road and rushed to the alley beside the bank, but the alley was empty by the time she got there. There was no one there at all. Chapter 1430. Looking at the empty alley, Lingshan had no choice but to give up. The robbers should have already left with a vehicle, and chasing after them would be futile. She turned around and went back to the bank, her face a little dark as she yelled, "Everyone, don't panic, I'm the robber. Is the person in charge here?" I'm the vice president on duty," a middle-aged man said as he ran over. "I was the one who called the police. I didn't rush here, I was on the other side of the road and heard the alarm," Lingshan said. Lingshan said, "I'm the captain of the city police's criminal investigation team, Song Lingshan. This is my ID. Please tell me what happened and show me the surveillance footage." All right. The vice president, naturally, didn't care if Lingshan just happened to see it or not. He'd heard of Lingshan's name before. It was like this. Lingshan couldn't help but furrow her brows after hearing the vice president's explanation. The exact same robbery method, the exact same outfit, at least from the initial analysis, it should be the same person as the previous robberies. As the vice president was explaining the situation, police sirens came from outside the bank. Liu Wangli brought his men and rushed into the bank, only to see Lingshan there. "Captain Song, why are you here?" Liu Wangli paused. "I was in the cafe opposite, and I saw the whole process of the robber's escape, but he was too quick, he was already gone by the time I got here." Lingshan said, a little regretful. "Yeah, from the previous robberies, this robber seems to have gone through professional training. Not only is he fast, but he's also fast when he escapes." Liu Wangli nodded helplessly. This is the 6th case already. It's only been a few days. Lingshan could only put Yu Tian's matter aside for now and focus on solving the robberies. The robber's boldness and arrogance were out of her expectations. This robber had reached a stage where he didn't care about anything. Hidden House Zhao, the young master of the house, Zhao Guangyin, was anxiously standing in front of his father's room, waiting for him to come out. "Elder Bai, how long has father been in seclusion?" Guangyin looked at the time and asked urgently. "It's been about 3 days. According to the time, he should be out soon." Elder Bai said faintly, "Please don't rush, young master. I'm not allowed to disturb the master when he's in solitary training. In order to advance from the earth rank to the heaven rank, old man Zhao would often go into seclusion, but he would come out every 2 or 3 days to inquire about the Zhao family's affairs. If there was nothing important, he would go back into seclusion. All right. Zhao Guangyin nodded respectfully. Is Guangyin here? Old Zhao's voice came from the room behind Elder Bai. Head, the young head is here. Elder Bai quickly replied respectfully when he heard Elder Zhao's voice. Let him in, Old Man Zhao said. Yes, Patriarch. Elder Bai quickly said and made a welcoming gesture to Guangyin. Young head, please come in. Guangyin nodded and said to Elder Bai, Elder Bai, I have something very important to tell my father. It concerns the future of the Zhao family, so please don't let anyone near. Don't worry, young head, I will watch the door. Elder Bai's face turned serious after hearing Guangyin's words. Although he was directly under Elder Zhao's command, Guangyin was still the young head. Elder Bai still respected him a lot. Since Guangyin said it was important, then whether it was for the sake of the Zhao family or his responsibility to Elder Zhao, he had to guard the door. He couldn't let anyone near. Zhao Guangyin walked into Old Master Zhao's villa. At this moment, Old Master Zhao was sitting in the living room of the villa's main entrance. He was dressed in a white training outfit and held a cup of fragrant tea in his hand. He looked like an immortal. Father. Guangyin bowed and said respectfully. Yes, Guangyin is here. What is it? Lord Zhao nodded and said, from what you said, is there anything that concerns the future development of our Zhao family? What is it? Father, it's about Lil Bing. Guangyin said. Zhao Qibing. Old Zhao couldn't help but frown when he heard the name. He had never liked this illegitimate child. After all, House Zhao and House Yu were in-laws, and Zhao Guangyin had an illegitimate child outside. How was he supposed to face House Yu like this? So, Elder Zhao could only pretend that he didn't know about it and didn't mention it publicly. He also didn't let Qibing return to House Zhao, and House Yu didn't find anything wrong with it. What trouble did he cause this time? Elder Zhao's first thought was that Qibing had caused trouble. Father, Zhao Qibing has done a great deed for House Zhao this time. Zhao Guangyin actually hoped that Elder Zhao would recognize Qibing. After all, Qibing was his son, and Zhao Guangyin was a man who valued boys over girls. Even though Qibing was an illegitimate child, he still valued him a lot. He couldn't help but exaggerate when he introduced Qibing's contributions to the family. Great deed. What credit? Old Man Zhao was stunned. What did he do outside? It's like this. Guangyin quickly explained how Qibing and Yarawang had tricked House Yu's Yu Huaxing into giving them the qi-gathering pill. What? Qi-gathering pill? This thing really appeared. When Old Man Zhao heard Zhao Guangyin's words, he immediately stood up in excitement. He was a calm person, and it was rare for anything to make him so excited. However, today, he couldn't hold it in anymore. Yes, Zhao Qibing, this child, it's been hard on him. He's just being filial to you. He's always remembered that you're an Earth class late phase peak, and he's been trying so hard to break through to Sky class, but to no avail, so he tried everything he could to find the whereabouts of this qi-gathering pill. Guangyin said, this child, he dared to ask Yu Huaxing, an Earth class, for this pill. He's willing to put his life on the line for you, father. You have to know that if Yu Huaxing isn't happy, Lil Bing won't be a match for him. Chapter 1431. Guangyin, there's no need to say I understand what you mean. Old Zhao naturally understood the meaning behind Guangyin's words. He waved his hand and interrupted, let Elder Bai bring Qibing back. No matter what, whether or not the qi-gathering pill is real or fake, he has this filial piety. As his grandfather, I can't disappoint him. Father is wise. Zhao Guangyin said excitedly after hearing his father's words. Guangyin, this child, I'll acknowledge him this time of course. If the pill is real, I'll give him what he deserves. Old Zhao said, in our house, we've always been fair with rewards and punishments naturally. Those who contribute will not be neglected. It should be real. Yu Huaxing risked his life to get it. It can't be fake, Guangyin said. But House Yu, keep it a secret from Jin. If Yu Huaxing isn't an idiot, he wouldn't say it himself. Jin may be your wife, but she's still a Yu. Old Zhao said faintly, of course, if we can't keep it a secret, then there's no need to keep it. We didn't steal or rob, it was a normal exchange. What can House Yu do to us? So be it. To me, the pill is much more important than the marriage with House Yu. Once I become a Sky class, House Zhao's strength will rise to another level. You're right, father. Guanyin breathed a sigh of relief. He was afraid that House Yu would really get the news and push all the responsibility to Qibing, handing him over. But now that Elder Zhao had spoken, he'd take all the responsibility on himself. All right, bye, come in for a bit. Old Zhao's face was calm, but his heart was impatient. It was a qi-gathering pill, after all, a super medicine that could make him become a sky class. The sooner he used it, the sooner he could become a sky class head. Elder Bai quickly walked in and bowed respectfully to Elder Zhao and Guanyin. Bai, you and Guanyin go to Songshan and bring Qibing back. Make sure he's safe. Old Zhao said. Yes. Elder Bai said. Father, I'm going to Songshan with Elder Bai, is that okay? As for the Noble House Association. Guanyin was a cautious man. He'd suffered too much from his playfulness when he was young. If it weren't for the marriage with House Yu, he wouldn't have been able to become the young head of the house. Although he was the eldest son, his other brothers weren't any weaker than him. They were all mystic late-phase masters, so Guanyin had to be careful. That's not a problem. You're bringing our son home, not doing anything else. The Arbitration Association won't stick their noses into other people's business. Lord Zhao smiled and said, Guanyin, you've been a bit too careful all these years I've been in seclusion. This isn't the bearing a future patriarch should have. If I really step into the heaven realm, then I won't be managing the family's affairs in the future. I want to pursue a higher heavenly Dao, and you should support the Zhao family. The Arbitration Association doesn't allow people from the hidden houses, especially Earth-class masters, to go to the common world. They're afraid that the hidden houses and the noble houses will have conflicts and break the balance. But if you go do your personal business, that's fine. Yes, father, I understand. Guanyin couldn't help but be overjoyed. Years of wife had finally become a woman. Just as his father had said, once he stepped into the heaven class, then he wouldn't be managing the family's affairs anymore. At that time, he could slowly take over House Zhao and become the true head of the house. Guanyin and Elder Bai didn't stay for long. They both went to pack up and prepared to leave for Songshan, Floating Cloud Bar. A black Audi A8L quietly parked in front of the door. After the driver got off, he quickly opened the front and back doors. The first to get off was naturally Elder Bai, followed by Guanyin. No matter what, Zhao Guanyin was the future head of House Zhao, and old Zhao's words had revealed some information. Elder Bai naturally had to give him the necessary respect. Elder Bai and Guanyin entered the Floating Cloud Bar. The bar was already open for business, and there was a lot of noise inside. Elder Bai frowned, evidently not a fan of this environment, but he didn't say anything. Where's your boss? Guanyin asked a random waiter. You're looking for the boss? Please wait a moment. The waiter wasn't surprised. He knew that there were many people who came to the bar to ask for Yao Wang's help, so he used the walkie-talkie to contact Su Jiaonong. Mr. Su, someone's looking for you. Su Jiaonong quickly walked out of the room and saw Guanyin and Elder Bai. But Su Jiaonong didn't know them. He walked over and said, I'm the owner of the bar, Su Jiaonong. What do you need? Su Jiaonong? Is Zhao Qibing here? Guanyin thought that his name was a joke. It was comparable to Tsihua's. You're looking for Master Bing? May I ask who you are? Jiaonong couldn't tell what these two were here for, and he didn't know if they were here to cause trouble or to seek medical help. I'm his father, Guanyin said impatiently. Get Zhao Qibing out here. Jiaonong paused, subconsciously thinking that this was a sexual assault. After all, someone suddenly appeared out of nowhere and said that he was Zhao Qibing's father. It was normal for Jiaonong to misunderstand. Tsihua bro, someone's sexual assault. Jiaonong quickly turned on the walkie-talkie and asked Tsihua for help. Guanyin was about to explode. He came here to look for his son, but was treated as a sexual assault. What kind of logic was this? He was just about to explode when he saw Tsihua rush out of the room with a few of his men behind him. Tsihua said as he walked, who dares to commit sexual assault here? Do you want to die? Tsihua bro, it's him. He says his Master Bing's father. Jiaonong pointed at Guanyin. Boss. Jiaonong didn't know Guanyin, but Tsihua did. Tsihua jumped when he saw that Guanyin was here in person. He kicked Jiaonong. You bastard, this is the big boss. What kind of eyes do you have? His master Bing's father. Ah! Jiaoneng paused, his face darkening. How would he know that this was Zhao Qibing's father? Chapter 1432. Zihua nodded and went into the room to push Qibing out in a wheelchair. Qibing was pleasantly surprised to hear that his father was here to welcome him. Dad, you're here? Zhao Guangyin nodded. Qibing, take that thing and come with me to the Zhao family. There were too many people here, so Guangyin didn't mention the qi-gathering pill. Okay. Qibing nodded quickly. That thing is in my arms. Should we leave now? Let's go. Guangyin knew that Qibing's legs were broken, but seeing his son in a wheelchair with his own eyes still made him very emotional. He walked over and pushed Qibing's wheelchair towards the entrance of the bar. Zihua, I'll leave everything here to you. Don't worry, boss, I'll do my best to take care of things here while Master Bing isn't here. Zihua nodded. Okay, but remember, you have to keep a low profile during this time. Don't cause any trouble. Guangyin reminded, there's a saying that goes, take a step back and you'll see the world. The head of the house is definitely going into isolation, and we can't let anything happen during this time. We have to do everything we can to pave the way for the head of the house to level up. Yes, boss. Zihua's face turned serious as he replied. It seemed that old Zhao was going to break through to sky class soon, and once he did, the strength of House Zhao would increase immeasurably, so they couldn't let anything happen while he was leveling up. Guangyin nodded and left the bar with Elder Bai and Qibing. They came to the car, and Elder Bai carried Qibing to the back seat first, leaving him in the front passenger seat. He did this because Guangyin was the future head of the house, and because Qibing had done a great service for House Zhao. If the qi-gathering pill was real, then Qibing's position would definitely rise, and he might even become the heir. After Zhao Guangyin got in the car, he ordered the driver to drive back to the Zhao family. They didn't want to stay in Songshan for too long. Qibing, let me introduce you. This is Elder Bai, your grandpa's housekeeper and also the old housekeeper of House Zhao. Guangyin said. You can call him Grandpa Bai. Yes, father. Qibing replied respectfully before turning to Elder Bai. Hello, Grandpa Bai. Thank you for your help earlier. Haha, young master, this kid is not bad. He's polite. Elder Bai smiled and nodded. Guangyin felt a bit awkward. He knew that Elder Bai was implying that his and Yu Xiaojin's son was arrogant and bossy, but it wasn't too surprising. He was the son of the first wife, the son of the head of the house. Especially at their rebellious age, they didn't know their place. This Zhao Qibing, on the other hand, was praised by Elder Bai. Guangyin knew what kind of person Qibing was. He was arrogant and bossy outside, but he was a bit more obedient in front of the elders. But Zhao Guangyin wouldn't say anything. In the family, although he was the young master, Elder Bai was very close to his second brother's son. He didn't like Zhao Guangyin's own son, and Elder Bai was an elder of the family. When Zhao Guangyin became the head of the family, he would definitely enter the elder council. So his opinion on the next head of the family was very important. Now that he had a good impression of Qibing, Guangyin was happy. When it came to choosing the next head of the house, even if Qibing was chosen, it would be much better than his second brother's son. You're flattering me, Elder Bai. Being polite is a traditional virtue, Qibing said humbly. But I haven't seen much of the world, so I don't know the rules. Please don't mind me, Elder Bai. When I see Grandpa later, please give me some pointers. Of course, when the time comes, you'll just follow your Grandpa Bai. I'll help you check. Elder Bai was very happy with Qibing's words. They didn't say anything on the way, and when the car entered the Zhao manor, Qibing and Elder Bai breathed out in relief. The importance of this pill was priceless, and they were afraid that something would happen on the way. Fortunately, House Yu didn't know anything yet. After entering the manor, they could only park in the parking lot. The inside of the manor was full of rugged paths, and only people could walk, not cars. So Guangyin and Elder Bai had to get off the car and walk, while Qibing was still in the wheelchair. Qibing was fascinated by the scenery inside the manor. Was this House Zhao? Wouldn't it be great if he became the master of this place? Zhao Qibing took a deep breath. He had decided that he had to seize this opportunity. If he became the master of House Zhao one day, then whatever Lin Yi, whatever Gaodan, they wouldn't even be able to do anything to him. They were just ants in front of him. Guanyin, this is. Guanyin didn't think that he'd see his wife, Yu Xiaojin, not long after he got off the car, staring at Chibing. Although she was asking him, it was obvious that she'd recognized him. With Yu Xiaojin's information network, he believed that she'd gotten hold of Chibing's information a long time ago. It was just that Guanyin hadn't had much contact with Chibing these past few years, and Chibing hadn't returned to House Zhao yet, so she turned a blind eye to it. But this time, Guanyin had brought Chibing back so brazenly, and this made Xiaojin uncomfortable. Xiaojin, this is Zhao Chibing. You should know him already. I won't introduce him. Guanyin said awkwardly he didn't know why Chibing was here. Wow, Guanyin. You're really something. Xiaojin smiled coldly. I thought that you'd let go of that thought after all these years, but you actually brought him back. Young madam, if you have something to say to the young head, we'll talk about it when we're free. Elder Bai cut her off coldly. The head said that he wants to see Chibing, and I'm bringing him to him. What? Xiaojin paused. She didn't think that it would be Elder Zhao wanting to see Chibing. She thought that Guanyin wanted to talk to Elder Bai and let Chibing return to his ancestry, but she didn't expect this to be the case. Chapter 1433. Oh. Okay. Xiaojin was helpless. Old Zhao had spoken, and as much as she didn't want to, there was nothing she could do. She just didn't understand. Didn't old Zhao always hate Guanyin's playfulness when he was young? He hated his illegitimate son as well, and Chibing hadn't been home all this time because the old man didn't support him. Guanyin didn't dare bring this up. Xiaojin's eyes were full of suspicions as she watched the three of them leave. She was from a hidden house, after all, and wasn't an idiot. But since it was old Zhao who had ordered it, she couldn't just ask him about it. She could only keep her suspicions for now. Chibing, when you see Grandpa later, you have to be polite. Don't say anything you shouldn't. Guanyin reminded Chibing at the entrance of old Zhao's villa. Don't worry, father, I won't say anything. Chibing nodded and said cautiously. Elder Bai had already gone in to inform old Zhao, but came back quickly. Young master, Chibing, the old head wants us to go in together. Right now, Chibing hadn't been acknowledged by old Zhao yet, so Elder Bai called him by his name. Once he did, he'd have to call him Master Bing. No matter how high Elder Bai's position was, he was still the head housekeeper of House Zhao, and he couldn't just ignore the rules. Guanyin nodded and brought Chibing into the villa. This was Chibing's first time meeting old Zhao, and he'd only met Guanyin before. The white-robed old man in front of him gave Chibing a lot of pressure, and he didn't dare look him in the eye. Luckily, he was in a wheelchair, and he had something to support him, so he wasn't too nervous. Chibing, right? Raise your head, let Grandpa see you. Old Zhao sighed softly when he saw Chibing. This kid was already so old, but this was his first time seeing him in person. He'd only seen pictures before. Yes, Grandpa. Chibing raised his head respectfully. Please forgive me, Grandpa, I can't stand up to greet you. My leg injury hasn't healed yet, it's all right. Old Zhao waved his hand, not reacting to Chibing's politeness like Elder Bai did. Old Zhao knew Chibing better than Elder Bai. He knew that this grandson of his was a bit wild outside, so he didn't know if the politeness in front of him was fake or real. I heard that you got a chi-gathering pill? Yes, Grandpa, it's here. Zhao Chibing carefully took out the bottle from his pocket and held it with both hands. I've never seen you before, Grandpa, but I've always been thinking about you. So when I heard that House Yu Huashing had this pill, I tried everything I could to get it for you, Grandpa. Lil Bai, have you checked the Qi convergence pill? Lord Zhao asked. No, the young master and I didn't touch the pill, we wanted you to check it yourself. Elder Bai said carefully. One had to know that Elder Bai was an Earth class late phase peak, just one step away from Sky class. To avoid suspicion, he didn't touch the Qi gathering pill. It wouldn't be good if it turned out to be fake and people suspected that he'd secretly swapped it out. Bring it here. Old Zhao nodded. He knew what Elder Bai was thinking, but after all these years, he trusted Elder Bai a lot. Every time he found a treasure, Elder Bai would give it to him first. Yes. Guanyin took the bottle from Chibing's hands and gave it to old Zhao. Old Master Zhao took the small bottle and immediately became excited. Looking at the small bottle in his hand, old Master Zhao took a deep breath and carefully opened it. He put it under his nose and sniffed it. His face immediately revealed a surprised expression. Yes. This must be the Qi convergence pill. Old Man Zhao's breakthrough was imminent, so he had a deeper understanding of the Qi gathering pill than others. He had also searched everywhere for this kind of pill, so he had an unusual understanding of the appearance and smell of the pill. So with just one look, Old Man Zhao could basically confirm that this was a Qi gathering pill. It really is the Qi convergence pill. Old Zhao stood up abruptly and looked at Chibing excitedly. Haha, I didn't expect this. I really didn't expect this. Our House Zhao has so many capable people, and we've tried our best to find it, but it was the bastard of House Zhao who found it. I didn't even mention this to him, but he had the intention to do so. You guys take a look. Guangyin, you take a look too. This grandson is amazing. One couldn't blame old Zhao for being so happy and excited. This was a spirit herb that had allowed him to step into the sky class, and it could be said that Zhao Chibing was the hero of House Zhao. No one could compare to what he had done. Grandpa, you're flattering me. Chibing may be a bastard, and he grew up among the commoners, but Chibing always remembers that he's a member of House Zhao, so House Zhao's business is Chibing's business. This is what Chibing should do. There's nothing to be proud of, Chibing said respectfully. Not bad, you're not bad. Old Zhao finally gave Chibing a positive evaluation. You're thoughtful. This time, what reward do you want? Tell me, as long as I can do it, I'll promise you. Chibing heard his grandpa's words and was overjoyed. He wanted to be the heir of House Zhao, the future head of House Zhao, but he couldn't say this out loud. He wasn't an idiot, and his grandpa was just being polite. If he really said that he wanted to be the head of House Zhao, it'd be too arrogant. Even if his grandpa didn't say anything, he'd definitely not like him in the future, and he wouldn't be able to be the heir then. So, Zhao Chibing's expression remained unperturbed. I've said it before, this is something I should do, it's not a merit. Since it's something I should do, what reward do I still need? Lin Yi nodded. Haha. Old Zhao laughed. You really don't want a reward? Say it, like you want to practice, or you want to return to House Zhao, or even raise you as the heir. Chapter 1434. This. Can I really ask for it? Can you really agree to anything, Grandpa? Chibing hesitated, pretending to be greedy. Of course. I'm a man of my word. Disappointment flashed across old Zhao's eyes as he saw Chibing's impatience. He'd thought that this bastard who grew up among the commoners was special, but he didn't think that he'd reveal his true self so quickly under his own temptation. But, no matter what, Zhao Chibing was the biggest contributor to House Zhao, so as long as he made a request, old Zhao would have to agree. Not only did it involve old Zhao's reputation, but it was also for others to see. Old Zhao wouldn't mistreat anyone who contributed to House Zhao. Then, I'll ask for something that's too much. Chibing gritted his teeth, as if he'd made a huge decision. Say it. Old Zhao's face was a little unhappy, but he didn't show it on his face. Grandpa, I know that this request is a little too much, but I still have to say it. Chibing said. Grandpa, I want to ask for a meridian opening pill. I hope you can agree to it. Ha! Old Zhao paused. He thought that Chibing would say that he wanted to be the next head of House Zhao, and old Zhao would agree. But he'd seen through Chibing's character, and if he didn't have any achievements in the future, it wouldn't be too late to cripple him then. But he didn't think that Chibing would ask for a meridian opening pill. This pill was precious, but Chibing couldn't use it, could he? This was a medicine that could only be used when a practitioner's meridians were injured, and Chibing wasn't a practitioner, nor did he have any meridians injured. Why would he need it? I know that it's precious. Chibing couldn't help but say in disappointment when he saw old Zhao's surprise. You want it? Old Master Zhao's expression was a little strange. The meridian unblocking pill is expensive, but compared to the Qi gathering pill, it's a world of difference. It's just that I'm a little curious. What do you want the meridian unblocking pill for? It's like this, Uncle Zhu is my underling, and he risked his life to protect me. That Lin Yi injured his meridians, and now he's fallen from mystic to golden class. I don't want him to be crippled just like that, so I'm asking for a meridian opening pill for him so that he can practice again, Chibing said. Oh, is that so? Old Zhao was shocked by Chibing's words. He didn't think that Chibing would ask for the meridian opening pill for Uncle Zhu. It was such a good opportunity. Zhao Qibing could have asked for something he wanted, but he gave it to someone else. Elder Zhao couldn't help but re-evaluate Zhao Qibing. It seemed that he had misjudged this kid before. This kid was a loyal and righteous person. From helping him find the pills to asking for Uncle Zhu's medicine, all of these proved this point, causing old man Zhao to be filled with emotions. This grandson who grew up among the commoners was really not an ordinary person. Yes. I hope that you can fulfill my wish, Grandpa. Qibing nodded solemnly. All right. I'll agree to this request of yours. But this request is something that House Zhao should do. Little Zhu is your underling, and my underling as well. Giving him the meridian opening pill is also House Zhao's responsibility. Elder Zhao nodded. That doesn't count. What else do you want? Tell me. This time, Elder Zhao really hoped that Qibing would ask for something. After all, Qibing was a great hero, and if he didn't ask for something, Elder Zhao would feel bad. But, Grandpa, I really don't have anything else to ask for. Qibing thought about it and shook his head. Qibing, do you want to become a practitioner? Elder Bai suddenly asked. That. Of course, but I'm past the best age for practicing, so I can't practice anymore. Qibing smiled bitterly. That's fine. Since you've heard of the meridian opening pill and the qi gathering pill, then you should have heard of a pill called the foundation pill. It can change your meridians and bones, allowing you to step onto the path of practice. With that, Elder Bai turned to Elder Zhao. Head, Xiao Bai has a request. I want to take Qibing as my disciple. I hope that you can grant my request. Oh. Xiao Bai, you want to take a disciple? Isn't that rare? There are so many disciples in the house who want to be your disciple, and you've never agreed to any of them. Now you're bringing it up yourself. Elder Zhao looked at Elder Bai, surprised. Zhao Qibing's character is commendable, and has done a lot for House Zhao. He meets my requirements for a disciple. Elder Bai said. If that's the case, then Qibing can't ask for more. I'll make the decision on my own and let Qibing be your disciple. Elder Zhao nodded. He was shocked. Elder Zhao didn't say who would be the heir in the third generation, but Elder Bai's attitude was very important. He wanted to ascend to sky class and then pursue the path of the heavens, so other than Zhao Guangyin's responsibility, Elder Bai was also in charge of the family. If Elder Bai had his eyes on a young disciple, then that young disciple would very likely become the next heir. It seemed like Qibing had a lot of hope, but Elder Zhao didn't purposely stop him. Since Qibing was part of House Zhao's bloodline and had done a lot for House Zhao, and it seemed like he had a good character, then there was no problem for him to be the heir for now. Qibing, hurry up and greet your master. Zhao Guangyin's emotions were very complicated, but he was also very happy. Qibing was his son, after all. Now that he was taken in as Elder Bai's disciple, his status would definitely skyrocket in the future. He might even become the new head of the house. Qibing greets master. Zhao Qibing was so happy that he wanted to kneel down and kowtow, but there was something wrong with his legs. The moment he kneeled, he fell off the wheelchair and fell flat on his back, almost breaking his head. Don't kneel, it's not too late to kneel when your legs are healed. Elder Bai was very happy to see Qibing's respect for his master. He smiled as he helped him up and put him back on the wheelchair. All right, Qibing, you might not understand why Lil Bai took you in as a disciple, but I'll let Guangyin explain it to you later. I'm going into isolation, you have to work hard. Elder Zhao nodded to Qibing. He couldn't wait to go into isolation. Chapter 1435. Haha, good. Very good. Old Zhao was very happy. He turned to Elder Bai and Guangyin. Guangyin, Lil Bai, I'll leave the house to you for a while. I'm going into isolation, and it might take a long time. Be careful during this time, and don't cause any trouble. If anything happens, just hold it in. Once I become a sky class, House Zhao won't be afraid of anyone. I understand, Father. I told Sihua to keep a low profile already. Zhao Guangyin nodded as he said this. Let's search for it. With old Zhao's approval, Qibing, naturally, moved into House Zhao officially. There was a lot of questioning in the house, but old Zhao was already in isolation, and even if they were dissatisfied, they couldn't do anything about it. Plus, old Zhao wouldn't allow anyone to question his decision. Of course, that wasn't all. The news of Elder by taking Chibing as a disciple exploded in everyone's ears. This was what made Xiaojin feel threatened. Chibing returning to House Zhao wasn't a big deal, and Xiaojin would at most feel uncomfortable, but it wouldn't affect anything. But Elder by taking Chibing as a disciple was something thought-provoking. Could it be that old Zhao was planning on making Chibing the heir of House Zhao? Yu Xiaojin exploded the moment Guangyin returned to his room that night. She had to get to the bottom of this. What was this Zhao Chibing doing here? Zhao Guangyin, tell me, what are you planning by bringing this bastard back? Xiaojin was someone with a strong back. She didn't need to be humble in House Zhao. Elder by taking him in as a disciple, is he planning on making him the next head of the house? I'm telling you, that's impossible. The head of the house has to be our child. Xiaojin wasn't a shrew before, but this was out of her expectations. She had to get to the bottom of this. Xiaojin, father was the one who brought Lil Bing back, and Elder Bai was the one who suggested taking him in as a disciple. Guangyin said, don't yell at me, even I don't know the inside story. It's not a secret. You can ask Elder Bai if you don't believe me. Okay, I'm tired, I'm going to rest. It was the first time Guangyin had treated Xiaojin so coldly. He and Xiaojin didn't have much of a relationship, after all. Guangyin had played with countless women in his life, and Xiaojin was just a union of benefits. He'd let her have her way before because House Zhao needed to borrow House Yu's power, but now that his father was a sky class, he'd be on the same level as House Yu. He didn't have to care about Xiaojin's feelings anymore. Plus, Guangyin really couldn't explain anything to Xiaojin about Chibing. The elixir was stolen from House Yu's hands in the first place, and he'd definitely slip up if he said too much. So, Guangyin decided to just keep quiet. Xiaojin was visibly taken aback by Guangyin's attitude, but she was someone from a big house, after all. She felt that there was something fishy about this whole thing. It didn't make sense. If Zhao Guangyin ignored her, then Xiaojin wouldn't keep causing trouble. That would only make their relationship even more awkward. Xiaojin decided to give her brother a call. Her father was in isolation all year round, becoming the guardian of House Yu. He wouldn't come out easily, and Xiaojin's brother, Yu Xiaochen, was the one in charge of everything. Hello. The phone was picked up, but it was a girl's voice. Is this Xiaoning? I'm your aunt. Xiaojin could tell that it was Yu Ning's voice and smiled. Is your dad here? I need to talk to him about something. Auntie, wait for a second. Dad is talking to his underlings. Can I ask him to call you back when he comes back? Yu Ning asked. That's fine, then let him call me when he comes back. Make sure to call my phone, don't call our house, Xiaojin said. All right, Yu Ning was a little doubtful. Did something happen to her aunt in House Zhao? But Yu Ning didn't ask. She really didn't want to get involved in family matters, and she didn't want to carry the burden of House Yu's mission. She just wanted to be a normal girl. Ning, who's calling? A boy around the same age as Yu Ning walked over. Brother, it's Auntie, she's looking for father. Yu Ning said. Since you're here, I'll go back to my room. Tell Dad later. Okay, Yu Ning's brother smiled bitterly. Going back to paint? No, Yu Ning shook her head. Is there still no news of him? There is. But there are some things that are hard to say. Yu Ning didn't say who it was, but her brother knew that it was Lin Yi. Before, there was no news of Lin Yi, but now there was news of Lin Yi. There was a lot of it, but he didn't know how to tell Yu Ning. Lin Yi was actually mortal enemies with the Common World's House Yu. Naturally, House Yu would stand behind the Common World's House Yu, and Yu Ning couldn't do anything about it. As a result, he was afraid that his sister would do something irrational, so he didn't know if he should tell her the truth or not. As the heir of House Yu, Yu Bing naturally had access to the information channels of House Yu. Recently, there was more and more news about Lin Yi. It made Yu Bing happy, but at the same time, he was in a dilemma. He didn't want House Yu to have conflict with Lin Yi. Whether it was from his or his sister's point of view, he didn't want House Yu to become Lin Yi's enemy. However, House Yu wasn't under his control. The current head of House Yu was their father, Yu Xiaochen, and the Common World's House Yu had earned a lot of money for House Yu. Although the Hidden House Yu had never put the Common World's House Yu in their eyes, the Hidden House Yu couldn't just sit back and do nothing if something happened to the Common World's House Yu. So, Yu Bing had been trying his best to play down the negative news about Lin Yi and let his father focus on the chi-gathering pill. His father was now an Earth-class late-phase peak, one step away from Sky-class. If he had the chi-gathering pill, then reaching Sky-class wouldn't be a dream anymore. Brother, there's really news about him? Why didn't you tell me? Yu Ning grabbed her brother's arm in surprise and shook it. Tell me. Chapter 1436. Yu Ning was shocked. Then what do we do? Can't you go and mediate in private? Yu Ning was a little anxious and angry. This Lin Yi, of all people, he had to make enemies with House Yu. By doing this, wasn't it making things more and more difficult for her and Lin Yi to be enemies? Yu Ning had been fighting all these years, and although there was no result, she still had hope in her heart. But if Lin Yi and House Yu became enemies, then all hope would be gone. There's no way to mediate. Yu Bing smiled bitterly. The common House Yu, one dead and one injured, it's a life and death grudge. Even if we are the hidden House Yu, we can't just suppress this grudge. It's fine if we don't do anything, but asking them to let go of this grudge is too much. One dead and one injured. Yu Ning didn't think that Lin Yi would be this ruthless, killing one and injuring one from the common House Yu. That was an irreconcilable grudge. Even the hidden House Yu couldn't do that. Yu Ning understood that the hidden houses always prioritized benefits. As for personal feelings, that was only a consideration when the benefits were balanced. So this time, her house definitely wouldn't stand on Lin Yi's side, and Yu Ning couldn't do anything about it. Sister, don't worry. I'll try my best to convince father to let the hidden House Yu not do anything. The only ones who will be looking for Lin Yi is the common House Yu. Lin Yi should be able to handle it. He's not stupid. Is there something wrong with offending the common House Yu when he knows he can't win? Yu Bing said, it's been so long, and the common House Yu still hasn't done anything to Lin Yi. This proves this point. That's the only way. Big brother, I'll leave this to you. Yu Ning nodded, relaxing a little. As long as the hidden House Yu didn't do anything, then Lin Yi shouldn't be in much danger. We're siblings. There's no need for pleasantries. I'll just do my best, Yu Bing nodded. In the meeting room of House Yu, Yu Xiaochen met with Elder Yu, Yu Huaxing. So you didn't find the chi-gathering pill, and you didn't find the refinement method? Not only did you come here for nothing, you even got hurt. Xiaochen asked in a low voice. Yes. Master. That tomb was too dangerous, and the tomb robbers even started fighting amongst themselves. Quite a few of them died, and in the end, no one entered the underground palace. Elder Yu said carefully. In front of the head of the house, Yu Xiaochen, Elder Yu didn't dare act rashly. Yu Xiaochen was an Earth-class late-phase peak, much stronger than Elder Yu. Plus, Elder Yu had a guilty conscience, so he didn't even dare to breathe. Trash. Yu Xiaochen was a little disappointed. It was just a simple mission, and you ended up like this. What a piece of trash. Yu Huaxing was grumbling in his heart. If it wasn't for the fact that you guys didn't want to treat my poison, why would I have handed over the pills? If I had handed over the pills earlier, would you have given me $1 billion to treat my injuries? I'm afraid I would have been left to fend for myself. Yu Huaxing understood House Yu's way of doing things. The head of the house, Yu Xiaochen, was a snobbish person, and it wouldn't be a problem for him to spend $1 billion on the chi-gathering pill, but it was impossible for him to spend $1 billion to treat his injuries. As a result, Yu Huaxing decided to hide the truth. House Yu couldn't possibly have any connection with the tomb robbers, and if he didn't say anything, how would House Yu know? House Zhao wouldn't say anything even if they got the benefits, and Yu Huaxing wasn't worried about that. I'm sorry. Master, please punish me. Yu Huaxing knew that although he didn't complete the mission, he didn't do anything wrong, and Xiaochen wouldn't do anything to him. At most, his position in House Yu would still be that lowly, and he wouldn't be given much training resources every month. Forget it, you can leave. I'll think of something about the tomb robbers. Xiaochen waved his hand impatiently. It was as Yu Huaxing had thought. He wouldn't punish Yu Huaxing, but he was a little annoyed. He'd been waiting for the chi-gathering pill for a long time, and now he couldn't get it. It was like a horse with a bunch of fresh grass tied to its head. It could see it, but it couldn't eat it. Yes. Yu Huaxing's heart sank. Xiao Chen wouldn't send someone else to rob the tomb, would he? But then, he thought of the dangers in the tomb and the powerful guardian beast, and he relaxed. If there weren't any tomb robbers following them, even a sky class wouldn't be able to return. Xiao Chen looked at Elder Yu's back and waved his hand, his face dark. One of his men quickly came over and whispered, "Master, what are your orders?" "Yu Liu, keep an eye on Yu Huaxing," Xiao Chen said. "Yes, Master." "You're suspecting him?" Yu Liu asked carefully. "That's right, this old thing is from the common world House Yu, and is not on our side. I'm afraid that he'll keep the things for himself after he gets them." Xiao Chen said, "Don't alert him, just search in the dark." "Yes, Master," Yu Liu replied. He was a servant, but he was an Earth-class mid-phase peak, much stronger than Yu Huaxing. There was no way he'd be discovered if he kept an eye on Yu Huaxing. Yuan didn't hesitate after receiving Gauden's call, and decided to go home with him. Yu Ren and Yuan's mother didn't want her daughter to leave, but Yuan had made up her mind. Yu Ren could only tell her to be careful and take care of Zhu Jiaming, and to call home when they arrived. A grown girl can't be kept at home. Yu Ren sighed. "Dad, why don't you and Mom go there as well? I heard from Zhu Jiaming that it's in the mountains, the air is good." Yuan said. "Haha, that's all right, after a few years, we can go there too." Yu Ren nodded. His daughter was going, and there was no point for him and his wife to stay here. Mrs. Yu, on the other hand, had tears in her eyes, unwilling to leave. Lin Yi, Meng Yaro, Yu Shu, and Tang Yun all came to send them off as well. Gauden's dedication in this period of time really touched the girls. He was Lin Yi's follower, but they had built up some friendships over this period of time. "If there's anything here, just come to me." Lin Yi smiled to Yu Ren, "Uncle Yu, Gauden and I are brothers. If there's anything, just come to me, just like how you look for him." Chapter 1437. "Boss, you have to take care of yourself, Lin Yi, and I will come visit you," Chen Tian said to Gauden as he laid on the wheelchair. "Haha, it's fine, don't worry about me. I'll be fine when I get back." Gauden forced a smile as he was supported by Yuan. Lin Yi nodded. Gauden was telling the truth, he'd recover after drinking some spring water. The train's whistle sounded, and Gauden and Yuan entered the ticket checkpoint. After seeing them off, everyone left the train station. After sending Tang Yun home, Lin Yi went back to the villa with Meng Yaro, Yu Shu, and Chen Tian. "Shield bro, did you find the fire spirit's fruit? Can Xiao Xiao be saved? I haven't seen her in so long, I miss her quite a bit. I don't have anyone to play with anymore," Yu Shu said with nostalgia. "No, but I found some news about the fruit. I'm planning to go look for it after settling things at home," Lin Yi said. "The process might be long, so you guys stay at home and take care of yourself. Don't worry about the bodyguards, Chen Tian should be fine." "But I don't like him. He's so stupid." Yu Shu didn't like Chen Tian at all. She felt that this guy was a bit stupid. "Shu, don't talk nonsense." Meng Yaro kicked Yu Shu and turned to Chen Tian. "I'm sorry, Shu's just like that. It's fine, as long as you don't like me. If you did, I wouldn't dare be liked," Chen Tian said as if it was natural. Meng Yaro didn't know what to say. Shu was right, this guy was really stupid, not knowing that she was speaking up for him. "The little pig at home is called Skybolt Pig. With its help, I'll be able to find the fruit," Lin Yi said. "Don't worry, there won't be any danger along the way." "That's good." Meng Yaro nodded. She didn't want him to leave, but because of her personality, she wouldn't say anything to make him stay. On the other hand, Lin Yi had no choice but to go. If he wanted to cure Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi had to go. "I'm going to help Chen Tian heal and increase his strength. Call me if you need anything," Lin Yi said before entering the bedroom with Chen Tian. Yao, Shield bro is leaving, but I want to go with him." Yu Shu hesitated. "No, you have to stay and take the college entrance exam." "College entrance exams are coming up," Meng Yaro said. "Besides, you won't be able to help even if you go, he still has to take care of you." "Oh." Yu Shu was a little disappointed, but Meng Yaro was right, she really couldn't help much. Lin Yi went back to the room and said to Chen Tian, "I'm going to heal you now, and after that, I'll help you increase your strength. But you're a physical practitioner, and I'm not very good with that," so I can only make some medicine for you. But I can turn you into a spiritual practitioner, and you'll focus on physical and support internal. With both, you'll be stronger than people of the same level, and you'll be able to fight people of a higher level. Ah! Chen Tian froze. He couldn't believe his ears. Lin Yi boss, what did you say? I think I was hearing things. I didn't hear you clearly. After all, the dream of every physical practitioner was to do both. That way, not only would they be able to bridge the gap between spiritual and physical practitioners, but they'd also be able to surpass spiritual practitioners of the same level. Plus, the two complemented each other, and it didn't matter if you leveled up your physical or spiritual practitioner first, you'd be able to bring the one that hadn't leveled up first to level up. This was the so-called the east side is not bright, the west side is bright. For example, if an external master reached the mystic rank first, then when he broke through to the mystic rank, he would no longer feel the bottleneck. Similarly, if the internal master reached the mystic rank first, then it would be a lot easier to break through to the external master. A physical practitioner at the early phase of mystic wouldn't have much of a problem fighting a spiritual practitioner at the mid-phase of mystic. Both of them would be on par, and this was similar to Lin Yi's unique practitioner's arts, but Lin Yi's was a little more mysterious. The meridians in your ears are fine. Lin Yi checked Chen Tian's ears and said. So you didn't hear things wrongly. I don't want to repeat myself. House Wu should have a spiritual practitioner's arts too, right? Spiritual. Yes. Chen Tian heard Lin Yi mention the spiritual practitioner's arts again, and he finally confirmed that Lin Yi wasn't joking with him. He was being serious. This meant that Lin Yi really wanted to turn him into a spiritual practitioner. Every external sect or noble house had their own spiritual practitioner's arts. This spiritual practitioner's arts weren't particularly high class, but it was the most compatible with the external practitioner's arts they practiced. The two could complement each other. This kind of inferior spiritual practitioner's arts wasn't a secret, and many noble houses had them. House Wu was no exception. However, the people of the Wu clan weren't suited to cultivate internal mental techniques. Moreover, the people of the Wu clan couldn't even spend all their time cultivating external mental techniques, so where would they find the time to study internal mental techniques? Although everyone knew that cultivating internal qi would allow one to gain greater strength, the key issue was that one had to be able to cultivate it. In the Wu family, only old Master Wu, Wu Gongao, had studied internal qi for a while, but he didn't have much success, so he gave up. So, even the strongest person in House Wu, Wu Gongao, didn't make much progress, let alone the others. Chen Tian, on the other hand, had followed them for a few days, but he didn't make much progress. Do you know the chant? So you've practiced it before? Lin Yi asked. I did, and I still remember the chant, but it's just a little bit of pure qi. The qi in my house is too thin, and I don't have spiritual herbs, so I gave up, Chen Tian said honestly. That's right, Lin Yi. All right, I'll heal you first, and you'll be fine when you start the chant. It might be painful during the breakthrough. Can you take it? Lin Yi asked. Chapter 1438. Chen Tian was overjoyed. Didn't that mean he was going to be awesome? The more he thought about it, the more excited he got. I'm not afraid of hardships. When I was training my iron fist, I put my hand in hot charcoal. It's fine, Lin Yi boss, don't worry, I can take it. As long as I can level up, I'll be fine even if you beat me to death. Beat you to death and you'll still level up. Lin Yi was speechless. This guy's thinking was a little off, but Lin Yi didn't say much. He only nodded and put his hand on Chen Tian's meridians. Chen Tian thought that Lin Yi was checking his meridians, but the next moment, he felt that the injured parts of his body were being healed by a strong energy. In an instant, his injuries were healed a little. This was something Chen Tian couldn't imagine. Ah! Chen Tian's eyes widened. He was from a noble house, and he had gotten injured many times when he practiced martial arts. After he got injured, there were also private doctors in the family who would heal him. Although these doctors were better than normal clinics, Chen Tian had never seen Lin Yi's healing method before. What was this called? Checking the meridians? Chen Tian had never seen this before, but after Chen Tian screamed, he quickly shut his mouth. He saw that Lin Yi had his eyes closed, clearly focused on healing him. Chen Tian didn't want to disturb him. Time passed, and Chen Tian was getting more and more shocked. He couldn't believe that his injuries could be healed so quickly. It had only been a short while, but the internal injuries in his body were already almost healed. Suddenly, he thought of a shocking possibility. Wasn't Hao's Sun a healing house? He wanted to marry Sun Jingyi because he wanted her to heal him when he was injured, right? But how could Lin Yi know Hao's Sun's arts? But that didn't make sense. It seemed that the Sun family's mental cultivation method could only heal one person, but Lin Yi seemed to be able to heal many people. Chen Tian had heard of Lin Yi's amazing medical skills. He'd even thought that Lin Yi was a liar who wanted to treat his aunt's father-in-law, but now it seemed that Lin Yi wasn't a liar at all. It was his own ignorance. Just thinking about it made Chen Tian blush. Fortunately, Lin Yi was a magnanimous person and didn't bring it up again. In fact, it was because of Chen Tian's dedication that made Lin Yi accept him. If it weren't for Tang Yun, Lin Yi wouldn't have accepted him so easily. What Chen Tian didn't expect was that almost all of his damaged meridians were healed, and even some of the internal injuries from his training were healed by Lin Yi. Chen Tian couldn't help but want to cheer. His two bosses were one stronger than the other. No wonder Gaodan had to call Lin Yi boss even though he was so strong. He couldn't help but be impressed. Start channeling your practitioner's arts, Lin Yi suddenly said to Chen Tian. Oh, okay. Chen Tian paused and quickly replied. He didn't dare to delay and started channeling his practitioner's arts. Chen Tian felt a sudden surge of pure qi coming from Lin Yi and entering his body. Chen Tian's practitioner's arts, which were extremely awkward at first, became smooth all of a sudden. The reason why it wasn't smooth before was because there wasn't any spiritual qi in the world, and there wasn't any spiritual medicine for training. But now, with Lin Yi's pure qi flowing in, Chen Tian didn't have any bottlenecks like before, and his spiritual strength increased rapidly. Chen Tian was surprised and happy, but he didn't dare to delay or rest, afraid that he'd waste a bit of pure qi. He was shocked that Lin Yi was giving him the pure qi, but since Lin Yi had already done it, if he didn't accept it, he'd be letting down Lin Yi's good intentions. He had to train even harder, but Chen Tian felt that Lin Yi was becoming more and more like Hao's Sun's practitioner's arts. Could it be that Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi really had some sort of relationship? But no matter what, he had already given up on Sun Jingyi, so he shouldn't think about Sun Jingyi anymore. Plus, he had a boss like Lin Yi. Why would he need Sun Jingyi? Chen Tian felt relieved. He'd gotten stronger, so why would he be afraid of not finding a wife? With that thought, Chen Tian worked even harder. Golden class. Chen Tian didn't think that he'd broken through just like that. How long had it been? Just like that. He'd been training his physical style since he was young, and he'd only broken through to golden class, but this spiritual style broke through in just a few hours. Wasn't this a little too fast? Chen Tian couldn't believe it was he the fastest golden class master in history. But, just when he was thinking about how he'd broken through so quickly, he realized that he was about to break through to golden class early phase peak. Golden class early phase peak. Chen Tian broke through again. He was a little prepared this time, but he was still shocked. No way, he'd surpassed his original physical strength in the blink of an eye. Was this real? I'm not dreaming, right? Golden class mid-phase. Chen Tian finally confirmed that he wasn't dreaming, but he'd broken through to golden class mid-phase. Golden class mid-phase peak. Chen Tian was a little numb. This was too fast, and he couldn't accept it. He hadn't even experienced the joy of breaking through to golden class mid-phase, and now he was golden class mid-phase peak. Golden class late phase. Chen Tian felt like his heart was going to explode. He'd never heard of a way to break through like this. Golden class late phase peak. Chen Tian felt like he was sitting in a helicopter, but he didn't think about whether it was real or not. He wouldn't dream like this. Every time he broke through the bottleneck, the pressure was real. It was painful, but as Chen Tian said, it was nothing compared to the hard work he'd put in. It could be seen that Chen Tian was a little arrogant, but he was someone who could take hardships. His strength was also obtained through hard work. Next, I'm going to turn you into mystic class early phase. You might suffer a lot, but just bear with it. Lin Yi suddenly said to Chen Tian. Chapter 1439. But now was a time of need. and Lin Yi needed Chen Tian to protect Meng Yaro, Yu Shu, and Tang Yun. Only by doing his best could he ensure their safety. Mystic. Chen Tian was shocked beyond words. He was a golden class late phase peak now, and he was already very surprised and satisfied. Was there anyone who could go from a person who didn't know martial arts to a golden class late phase peak in one day? Chen Tian didn't think so, at least he hadn't seen it before. But now, it hadn't even been a day. In just one night, he became a golden class late phase peak, and this wasn't enough. He wanted to become a mystic class. Chen Tian felt his body shaking with excitement. When he recognized Gaodan as his boss, he wanted to take a gamble. He wanted to see Gaodan's physical skills, and he wanted to learn from him to increase his own strength. But he didn't expect that his strength increased, but it was the spiritual strength, not the physical strength. But before Chen Tian could get excited, he felt a strong surge of qi entering his body, and it exploded, becoming even stronger. In an instant, his body swelled up like an inflated balloon. Chen Tian moaned in pain, but he clenched his teeth. He said before that he could endure it, so in order to not let Lin Yi look down on him, he gritted his teeth and endured the pain, not letting himself make a sound. Chen Tian's strength was beyond Lin Yi's expectations. On the other side, Lin Yi had completed his own steps, and the rest was up to Chen Tian. Lin Yi couldn't help much, and success or failure depended on Chen Tian's talent and luck. With Chen Yutian, Ling Shan, and General Wei Wu as examples, Lin Yi wasn't worried about Chen Tian's safety. This method of condensing energy to increase strength seemed to work, at least for golden class late phase peak to mystic. Lin Yi, on the other hand, wasn't idling. After helping Chen Tian increase his strength, it was already the morning of the second day. Lin Yi heard voices outside the door. It should be Forbert and Peng Zhan. They must have heard the news of Lin Yi's return from the miss, so they came early in the morning. Lin Yi pushed the door open and saw Peng Zhan and Forbert sitting on the sofa in the living room. Meng Yaro and Yu Shu were already dressed, evidently ready to go to school. Uncle Chu, Forbert, you're here. Lin Yi nodded to them. Yi, Uncle Fu, and I came to see you after hearing that you've returned safely. Peng Zhan said. But I heard from Yaro that you're leaving soon? Yes, Uncle Chu, I'm going to look for the fire spirit's fruit to cure Xiaoxiao's disease. I'm afraid I'll have to leave soon. Then how long will you be gone this time? College entrance exams are around the corner, you'll probably miss it, right? Peng Zhan asked. Uncle Chu, you're saying that I should stay with Yaro and Yu Shu after they go to college? Lin Yi paused. Meng Yaro and Yu Shu would definitely go to another city if they went to college. There was no way they would stay in Songshan. After all, there was only one medical university in Songshan, and the two clearly didn't want to study medicine. Yeah, it's rare that Yaro likes you so much. You know how she is, she doesn't accept strangers easily, so I'm thinking that you should go to the same university as her and continue to be her bodyguard. Peng Zhan said. The miss blushed after hearing Peng Zhan's words. She wanted to argue, but she didn't want to. She felt conflicted. Before, Meng Yaro had thought about what would happen to Lin Yi after she and Shu went to college. From her point of view, it didn't matter if she was willing or not, their fate would end there. Lin Yi was clearly not a simple bodyguard, and Meng Yaro understood that hiring him as a bodyguard was a waste of his talent. So, she couldn't just shamelessly ask him to protect her for the rest of his life, could she? All good things must come to an end. Lin Yi had already resigned, and he was only staying here as a friend. He didn't have the obligation to protect her anymore, and they didn't have a relationship of employer and subordinate. From Meng Yao's point of view, she wouldn't be able to tie Lin Yi to her anymore after she and Shu went to university and lived there. Naturally, she wouldn't be able to tie Lin Yi down anymore. That wasn't realistic, either. Lin Yi had his own life, and he had his girlfriend. Would Tang Yun bring her and Shu along when she went on a date? What would that become? Would it really be like what Shu said, that everyone would marry Lin Yi? Although Meng Yaro wasn't really against it, she felt that it wasn't the case. Besides, she clearly didn't like Lin Yi that much. She was just used to having him by her side. Shu was the one who liked Lin Yi. Great. Great. Yu Shu clapped her hands after hearing Peng Zhan's words, forgetting what Lin Yi wanted to say. That isn't too good. I don't think I can make it for the college entrance exams. Lin Yi sighed. Besides, Yarrow and Shu won't be in this city when they go to college, right? That's not a problem. Yarrow and Shu are participating in the college entrance exams to prove their strength. I have a way to do it even if you don't need to. It's just that it's not a good name to be a self-funded student. Peng Zhan said, if you're worried, let Tang Yun go to the same college as them. Peng Zhan seemed to have seen through Lin Yi's thoughts. Shield bro, you're going back on your words. Are you going back on your words? Yushu didn't give Lin Yi time to think and questioned him directly. Oh. Lin Yi paused. Why would I go back on my words? You promised me before that the one who changes will be General Weiwu. Chen Yu said. Yushu's words reminded Lin Yi of the time when he'd lost all his strength and was about to resign. Then it's a deal. If you recover to a higher level than before, you'll have to stay in the villa forever, with me and Yarrow sis. It's a deal. I want to pinky swear. Ha, okay. Pinky swear for 100 years and you can't change. The one who changes will be General Weiwu. Chapter 1440. Lin Yi was just brushing Yushu off. He didn't think that he'd recover his strength and break through all of a sudden, but this sentence became a promise to Lin Yi. Lin Yi wasn't someone who made promises easily, especially to friends. Once he made a promise, he had to keep it. Yeah, I said it already, I'm Prophet Shu. Yushu nodded. Then you can't go back on your words. But, last time, we agreed to stay in the villa, right? You guys are going away to college, so naturally you won't be staying in the villa anymore, Lin Yi said. A villa? Yushu thought about it, and an idea came to her. We can buy a villa in another city, right, Uncle Chu? Peng Zhan was the rich one here, so naturally, Yushu looked at him. Peng Zhan was willing for Lin Yi to stay as well, so he nodded. Of course, that's not a problem. That's what I was planning to do anyway. Otherwise, Forbert and I wouldn't have a place to stay if we went to visit you guys, right? You guys can stay in the school during the week, and you can go back to the villa during the weekends. Yeah, Shield bro, look, he said a villa, but he didn't say where it was, so it's fine as long as it's a villa, right, Yarrow sis? Yushu held Meng Yao's hand and asked. How would I know what your deal was with him? Meng Yao acted like she didn't mind, but on the inside, she was happy. This Shu sure had foresight, getting it right every time. Alright, since it's a deal, then we'll have to do it. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Uncle Chu, I'll leave the school to you then. What's there to beg about? You take care of Yarrow and Shu, I'm the one troubling you. Peng Zhan smiled. Right, when are you planning to leave? Do you need to prepare anything? I don't need to prepare anything, I'll see about it for the next few days. I'll leave after dealing with things at home. Lin Yi smiled. The fire spirit's fruit doesn't have legs, so it won't be able to run away. I'll have to settle things at home first, and I'll let Wu Chentian take over temporarily to protect Yarrow and Shu. That's fine, but Wu Chentian's strength. Peng Zhan and Forbert had heard about Chentian's situation, and they accepted him after seeing how dedicated he was. But they were still worried about Chentian's strength. Strength isn't a problem, I've forcefully raised his spiritual strength to mystic early phase. He's a dual practitioner now, not much weaker than me. It's more than enough to protect Yarrow and Shu. Lin Yi said. Peng Zhan had heard from Forbert that Lin Yi could forcefully raise someone's strength, so he wasn't surprised. But the fact that he could raise Chentian to mystic early phase shocked Forbert. You can raise someone's strength to mystic now? While Li Fu's desire to reach a higher level in his youth had faded a lot with the passing of time, he was still able to increase his strength a little bit more, and it would be a great boost to his ability to protect Peng Zhan and Meng Yao. Yes, this is a method I came up with when I was exploring the tomb, and I've tested it on Lingshan and Yutian. It's proven to be effective, so if you're free later, Forbert, come back to the villa and I'll help you raise your strength. Lin Yi saw through Forbert's thoughts and said. All right. I'll come back after sending Miss Chu and the others off. Forbert really couldn't wait to raise his strength. After all, this was an irresistible temptation for practitioners. After checking on Lin Yi and confirming Lin Yi's schedule, Peng Zhan left the villa with Meng Yao and Yushu, leaving Forbert to send them to work and school. Lin Yi, on the other hand, stayed in the villa, waiting for Chen Tian to break through. Although he didn't need Lin Yi's protection, Lin Yi was afraid that someone would barge in and hurt him. Chen Tian wouldn't be able to fight back at this point. Lin Yi waited for everyone to leave before returning to his room, only to see Chen Tian holding his lower body pitifully, looking for clothes. He looked a little awkward when he saw Lin Yi. Lin Yi boss, I accidentally blew my clothes up when I broke through. Ha. That's normal, it's the same for others. Lin Yi wasn't surprised, just find some clothes and put them on. We're both men, what's there to be afraid of? It's not that. It's just that it's a little small. Chen Tian was a little embarrassed and let go. I'm afraid that you'll laugh at me, Lin Yi boss. When you get a girlfriend, I'll make it bigger for you. Hurry up and put your clothes on. Lin Yi was speechless. What? It can get bigger? Thank you so much, Lin Yi boss. Chen Tian was so happy that he started dancing, even happier than when he broke through. He went to look for clothes to wear. How do you feel now? Lin Yi asked. I feel great right now. I didn't think that I'd become a mystic early phase, and I'm a dual practitioner. I feel like I can fight my grandpa now, Chen Tian said. Beating up Uncle Zhu is child's play. Ian, we'll talk about Uncle Zhu in 2 days. Let's wait for you to stabilize your strength. You're actually still a golden class early phase physical practitioner, and your spiritual practitioner's arts only exist to support physical practitioners. It doesn't have any offensive skills, so you should focus on leveling up your physical skills as well. Lin Yi knew Chen Tian's situation like the back of his hand, and directly pointed out his weakness. Chen Tian was also a mystic early phase, but he was different from Lingshan and Yutian. Lingshan and Yutian were both spiritual practitioners, so after leveling up, they had corresponding strength. Forbert was different as well. Forbert may have been a physical practitioner, but that was later on. Forbert's first practice was still a high-grade spiritual practitioner's arts, so after leveling up, Forbert was basically an external supporting internal practitioner, unlike Chen Tian who was an internal supporting external practitioner. When it came to both internal and external practitioners, one was the main, and the other was the support. It was very rare for both to be a high-grade practitioner. Lin Yi, on the other hand, didn't continue to practice physical practitioners because he hadn't found a suitable external practitioner's arts, so he focused on spiritual practitioners. Chapter 1441. Lin Yi nodded. Then I won't disturb you. Go to the guest room and train yourself. Come see me when you've reached mystic early phase. Okay. Chen Tian gritted his teeth. He thought that it was a bit hard, but Lin Yi was able to turn him from a normal golden class physical practitioner into a mystic early phase spiritual practitioner. Wasn't it hard? It looked easy, but it was hard to tell how much effort Lin Yi had put in. Chen Tian felt that leveling up a person's strength wasn't something that easy. Lin Yi didn't say it out loud, but he knew that he must have put in a lot of effort. Chen Tian was grateful to Lin Yi, and at the same time, he swore to himself that he would train hard and not waste Lin Yi's effort. Go! Lin Yi nodded. Chen Tian was looking good right now. He was full of energy, and Lin Yi was quite satisfied. At the same time Chen Tian was training hard, a black SUV stopped in front of the floating cloud bar, and the first to step out was Zhao Qibing. Yes, you saw it right, he walked out. He didn't need a wheelchair anymore, he could walk. Zhao Qibing got out and stood at the side of the car, waiting respectfully until Elder Bai got out as well. He stood up straight again. Master, I've realized that it's really good to walk on my own, without a wheelchair restraining me. It's so comfortable. I didn't expect you to be so strong in martial arts, and your medical skills are even better. Qibing's leg, naturally, was healed by Elder Bai. He was an Earth-class late-phase peak, but he was also a master of medicine himself. All these years, he'd been acting as old Zhao's personal doctor, but House Zhao had other personal doctors, like Yarawang. So other than old Zhao, Elder Bai wouldn't treat anyone else. Now that Qibing was his disciple, naturally, Elder Bai would treat him. Haha, don't worry, I will teach you this medical skill in the future. Elder Bai knew that Qibing was flattering him, but he didn't mind at all. That was just how Elder Bai was. If he liked you, he'd like you no matter what you did. If he didn't like you, he'd find fault with whatever you did. Thank you, Master, I'll work hard, Qibing quickly said. This time, Zhao Qibing came back to deliver the medicine to Uncle Zhu. In fact, His main purpose was to show his identity, Elder Bai's disciple. This meant that he was the future head of House Zhao. Qibing was using this method to make Zihua, Uncle Zhu, and through Uncle Zhu, tell Elder Zhu that Qibing was going to make it big in the future. He wanted them to follow him and not have any suspicions. Qibing was also paving the way for his future. After all, it was very important to have his men supporting him. These people might seem a little weak now, but they were the future elders and backbone of the house. With these people, he'd be able to get more men to follow him until the day he became the head of House Zhao. Of course, Qibing couldn't say that to Elder Bai. He told Elder Bai that he was worried about Uncle Zhu's injury and wanted to deliver the meridian opening pill to Uncle Zhu as soon as possible, but he was worried that something might happen to him on the way back. After all, the meridian opening pill was very important, so naturally, Elder Bai came back with Qibing. Elder Yu, on the other hand, didn't think that Qibing was using this opportunity to show off. Instead, he felt that Qibing was a loyal and righteous person. He felt that his eyes were right. This disciple of his was a man of great use. If he became the head of the house in the future, he'd protect the people of the house. Floating Cloud wasn't open yet. It had just opened in the morning, and the waiters were cleaning the place. When Qibing walked in, the waiters recognized him, but they were all very surprised. The boss was usually in a wheelchair, so why was he walking today? But they didn't dare to ask. After all, the boss's leg was a taboo, and people weren't allowed to touch it. "Boss, you're back." The waiters all greeted Qibing. Su Jiaonang, on the other hand, heard the commotion outside and rushed out with Zihua. There was no one in the bar during the day, so the commotion outside was very clear. Su Jiaonang and Zihua heard the waiters greeting their boss, so they walked out immediately. "Master Bing, you're back. Your leg." Zihua was a little surprised to see Qibing. "Naturally, my master healed my leg," Qibing smiled. "Zihua, this is my master, Elder Bai, come and greet him." "Yes." Zihua was shocked. He was Guangyin's underling, and naturally, he had some understanding of the hidden House Zhao. He knew who Elder Bai was. He was the personal bodyguard of House Zhao's old man. He'd be a person on the same level as the Grand Elder in the future, and now that he'd taken Qibing as his disciple, didn't that mean that Qibing would become the young master of House Zhao? Zihua didn't dare imagine it. Zihua was still a little reluctant when he first started following Qibing, thinking that he'd be able to get some results with Qibing before asking Guangyin to let him go back to House Zhao to take charge of other things. He thought that an illegitimate child wouldn't be able to do much, but now, Qibing had risen to the top in one step. "Greetings, Elder Bai," Zihua said respectfully. At this time, Uncle Zhu and Yarawang came out from the room as well. They heard the news of Elder Bai's arrival. They were all under Elder Bai's management in House Zhao, so how could they not come out to greet him? Especially Yarawang, he knew Elder Bai's medical skills, and he knew that Elder Bai was the head doctor of the house. This made him even more respectful. "Greetings, Elder Bai," Uncle Zhu and Yarawang said respectfully after coming out. "Little Zhu, the master you follow is really a kind-hearted, affectionate and righteous person." Since Elder Bai had taken Qibing in as a disciple, he had to start thinking for him. He said directly, "Do you know what Qibing said when the head of the house asked him what reward he wanted? He did a great job for the house this time, and you know what he said?" Chapter 1442. At the same time, Uncle Zhu was happy for himself. Qibing was strong, and his position as his follower naturally rose as well. The head of the house even promised Qibing that he'd be the next heir, but Qibing didn't budge at all. He only had one request, and that was to get you a meridian opening pill. Elder Bai said, "Lil Zhu, what do you think of this, master?" Uncle Zhu didn't think that Qibing would give up the position of heir just for one meridian opening pill. He was so moved that his eyes were brimming with tears as he kneeled on the ground. "Master Bing, what have I done for you to treat me like this? It's not worth it, it's not worth it. Giving up the position of heir for me is not a smart move at all. Please take back the Qi gathering pill, I don't want it anymore." Uncle Zhu wasn't an idiot. He knew very well if Qibing really became the young head of the house, how could he not have a pill? "When the time comes, he will definitely ask for another pill for me. Wouldn't that be the best of both worlds?" "Uncle Zhu, don't say that. Grandpa's decision can't be changed." Chibing jumped in fright and quickly scolded, "Take the meridian opening pill and train hard, that's the best way to repay me." "Haha, Lil Zhu, there's no need to be like that, this pill is already here, it's a gift from the head of the house, there's no reason to take it back." Elder Bai looked at Uncle Zhu's reaction and smiled. Plus, to become the future head of the house, you need to be a talented and virtuous young man. You don't just have to contribute to the Zhao family. Chibing, on the other hand, is a loyal child, and that's why I took him in as my disciple. Uncle Zhu's heart skipped a beat as he understood Elder Bai's meaning. He blamed himself for being a busybody, but Elder Bai's meaning was clear. Even if Chibing became the heir, it wouldn't be stable, and Chibing's loyalty was what Elder Bai really valued. "Yes, Master Bing is very loyal to us. If that's the case, I'll work hard to become Master Bing's right-hand man as soon as possible." Uncle Zhu quickly cupped his fists and said. He finally understood Master Bing's plan. Master Bing seemed to be loyal and gave up the position of the young master for Uncle Zhu. But wasn't this also because of Master Bing's control over people's hearts? Master Bing had found a good entry point. Not only did he gain the favor of Elder Bai and the head of House Zhao, but he also got himself a Dan. It was the best of both worlds. "Yarawang, I heard that you also contributed to the discovery of the Qi gathering pill." After talking to Uncle Zhu, Elder Bai turned to Yarawang. But when he saw the lightning rod on Yarawang's body, he felt strange. "What is that on you? Are you doing acupuncture on yourself?" Yarawang didn't dare lie in front of Elder Bai, he could only tell the truth. "These needles, it's all because of that Lin Yi kid." Yarawang's heart was filled with hatred at the mention of Lin Yi. He was a great doctor, and yet he was humiliated by Lin Yi like this, not daring to pull out all the needles on his body. How embarrassing. Lin Yi put these needles in your body. Why didn't you pull them out?" Elder Bai paused. He thought that Yarawang did it himself, practicing some high-level kung fu. He didn't know that it was Lin Yi who did it. "Lin Yi sealed his pure energy on the tip of the needle and stabbed it into my body. I didn't dare pull it out, because the moment I did, the pure energy would explode and damage my meridians." Yarawang said, troubled. "My abilities are limited, and I can't break it. I can only stay like this. And here I thought it was some other reason." Elder Bai hemphed in disdain. "It's just a small trick in front of me. I'll help you deal with it. You're Chibing's underling now, so you're technically mine. You need to take care of your image outside, or people will think I'm useless." "Thank you, Elder Bai." Yarawang was overjoyed. Elder Bai had agreed to help, so naturally, there wouldn't be a problem. Lin Yi's methods might be difficult for a mystic, but for Elder Bai, an Earth-class late-phase peak, it was no problem at all. "It's nothing much," Elder Bai said faintly as he waved his hand at Yarawang's body. The needles were easily pulled out, and Yarawang wasn't hurt at all. All the pure qi had been dissolved by Elder Bai. Chibing, Zihua, Yarawang, and Uncle Zhu were all amazed. Lin Yi's methods were nothing in Elder Bai's eyes. If Elder Bai were to deal with Lin Yi, wouldn't it be as easy as lifting a finger? But that was to be expected. Lin Yi was strong, but he was still a mystic. Even if Lin Yi could fight an Earth-class early phase, that was only limited to the early phase. Elder Bai, on the other hand, was an Earth-class late phase peak, one step away from Sky-class. Someone like that, naturally, would be able to break through Lin Yi's methods easily. Plus, Lin Yi's methods weren't too masterful. He could only make those with lower training feel helpless. Those with higher training, like Elder Bai, could forcefully dissolve Lin Yi's qi. At that thought, Yarawang thought of something. "Elder Bai, that Lin Yi is a huge problem for us House Zhao. If you were to deal with Lin Yi, it'd be a piece of cake. Yarawang, my father and grandpa will decide this. Don't say anything else." Chibing jumped and quickly stopped him. This was what he wanted to say as well, but if his father and grandpa didn't agree, then even if Elder Bai was his shifu, he couldn't do it. "It's fine, but I'm an Earth class, and the Earth class of a hidden house is restricted by the Council of the Noble Houses. They can't come to the common world and participate in the fights here. If I were to make a move, I'd be used against." Elder Bai said. "If you want to deal with Lin Yi, you'd have to find a chance in the common world. As for me, I can't do it, I'm too big a target. Yarrow Wang nodded helplessly. He knew the rules of a hidden house, but he was from a hidden house as well. He thought that Elder Bai would be fine if he were to make a move. Yarrow Wang, don't worry with a Shifu like Elder Bai here, what's there to be afraid of? Once I'm strong enough, I'll take revenge myself. Wouldn't that be better? Chibing, on the other hand, felt a sense of heroic. His position was different now, and so was his perspective. Chapter 1443. That's right, that's more like my disciple. It's never too late for a man to take his revenge. As long as House Zhao doesn't make a big deal out of you and register you with the Noble House Association, you won't even be considered a part of House Zhao on the surface. No one will be able to say anything wrong if you go after Lin Yi. Elder Bai nodded confidently. Don't worry, as my disciple, you'll have priority in using all of House Zhao's treasures. I'll make sure you level up quickly. Ah. Thank you, Master. Chibing was shaking with excitement after hearing Elder Bai's words. Even his father Guangyin didn't get this kind of treatment. He was the head of the house, but there was a limit to how much he could spend every month. There was no other reason than that old Zhao and Elder Bai didn't think highly of Guangyin, thinking that he had no drive. It was fine to keep a business, but it was hard to start a business. House Zhao wouldn't fall in his hands, but there wouldn't be much development. So old Zhao didn't need to spend too much effort on him. Strength didn't matter, as long as he could manage House Zhao when he was in isolation. The other disciples were even less capable, so he could only choose Guangyin. But Chibing, on the other hand, was a disciple of Elder Bai, and he'd put a lot of effort into him. Even if he didn't have the talent for practicing, he'd still have plenty of herbs. Plus, Elder Bai had already checked Chibing's bone structure, and felt that the kid's potential was decent. It was just that he hadn't started practicing since he was young. But that didn't matter with the foundation pill, there was nothing to worry about. Okay, Chibing, do you have anything to say about the things here? You'll be coming back to House Zhao with me to practice, leave the things here to Cihua and Zhu. Elder Bai's goal was to bring the meridian opening pill to Uncle Zhu, and there was nothing else to do after that. Master, do you think it's a good idea for me to come back with you? After all, I'm still a bastard child. Chibing was worried about that, but he didn't want to leave the freedom he had in the common world. If he went back to House Zhao now, he wouldn't be too high profile, even with his identity as Elder Bai's disciple. He had to be careful, and he had to worry about Xiaojin's plans. He didn't want to go back before his position was stable. Unless he didn't have any plans, that was fine, and he could just be a peacemaker, but that wasn't what Chibing wanted. Oh, so you're saying? Elder Bai paused, then smiled, you're my disciple. Who dares say anything? Of course, I know that, but… Master, I'm doing it. Zhao Chibing said earnestly, Master, think about it, I've appeared in House Zhao out of the blue. Others might not dare to say anything, but they can think about it. What if rumors start spreading like wildfire? Master, you, why dish, you, you. I didn't think you'd think this far ahead. Elder Bai nodded with approval. You're talking about this, I didn't think your identity is a little sensitive right now, and you suddenly came to House Zhao without a reason. People would be suspicious. Alright, when the head of the house is in isolation, you can stay in the floating cloud bar. I'll come here often to teach you. Is there a secret room here? Yes. Zhao Chibing was overjoyed. In fact, he wanted to return to House Zhao with a proper reason and not hide like a coward. But his reason now was just and honorable. Alright, let's go to the secret room. I'll help you take the foundation establishment pill and restructure your bones, Elder Bai said. Master, please, Chibing said quickly. Lil Zhu, come with us. You take the meridian opening pill and stay with Chibing. I'll protect you, Elder Bai said. Thank you, Elder Bai. Uncle Zhu was overjoyed. With Elder Bai protecting him, he'd definitely succeed. Forbert and Tianlong arrived at the villa almost at the same time. Uncle Feng. Lin Yi stood up and greeted Tianlong. Yi, no need to be so polite. How is it? I rushed over as soon as I got the news of your return. Tianlong said urgently. Is there any news of the fire spirit's fruit? Yes. Lin Yi said with certainty. But it's only a general direction, no exact location. I'll go look for it myself after I'm done with my family matters. That's good. Tianlong heard Lin Yi's words and was overjoyed. There was only hope, but it was better than no hope at all. But Tianlong couldn't help but ask, that fruit. How many are there? There should be a lot on a tree, right? Lin Yi was guessing as well. Zhongliju's notes didn't mention how many fruits there were on a tree, but he'd taken 2 of them, and judging from his tone, there should be more. At least as many as 2. Good. Good. Does that mean that Susu can be saved? Tianlong's face was full of excitement. He didn't think that he'd be able to see Susu again. There should be hope for Auntie Xiao, but the fruit needs to be stored in a special container. I can only bring one back. Lin Yi said. So, I'm going to bring Xiao Xiao with me. That way, I can bring one back for Auntie Xiao. After hearing the first half of Lin Yi's words, Tianlong's heart was in his throat. He thought that Lin Yi wasn't going to save Xiao Susu. After all, he could only bring one back, and that meant that Xiao Xiao would have priority. If Lin Yi went again, he wouldn't know when. But Lin Yi said he would bring Xiao Xiao with him, and bring one back for Xiao Susu. This made Tianlong very touched. Thank you. Lin Yi, thank you so much. Tianlong patted Lin Yi's shoulder. It's our family's honor to know you. Ha! Xiao Xiao is my girlfriend, so we're family. There's no need to be so clear. Lin Yi smiled. But Uncle Feng, what you need to do is prepare a special off-road vehicle for me. It can fit Xiao Xiao's ice coffin and maintain its temperature. Chapter 1444. All right. Lin Yi nodded. That was one important thing he had to do. After Tianlong left, Lin Yi brought Forbert to level up. Originally, Lin Yi wanted to level up Tianlong as well, but after some thought, he decided against it. After all, Tianlong's strength could be leveled up after he came back. Leveling up now wouldn't be of much use to him. Tianlong had the identity of the Secret Investigation Bureau, so he didn't need to be too strong. Forbert and Lin Yi were old partners, and they had experience breaking through before. This time, it was a walk in the park. But Forbert didn't expect it to be this painful. But after hearing Lin Yi say that Chen Tian gritted his teeth and didn't even make a sound, Forbert gritted his teeth and persevered. Raising Forbert's strength was only from Golden Class late phase peak to Mystic Class early phase, so the time spent was much faster than raising Chen Tian's strength. Lin Yi completed the task quickly, and the rest was up to Forbert. In the afternoon, Forbert changed his clothes and walked out of the bedroom. Obviously, his clothes were destroyed, but at this moment, Forbert was refreshed, and his body was filled with an indescribable energy. It felt like he was in high spirit. Mystic Class. I didn't think that I would be able to stand at Mystic Class again. The first thing Forbert said when he saw Lin Yi was this. Back then, my sect was destroyed, and my wife and daughter were nowhere to be found. I lived on just so that I could take revenge one day. But, as time passed, the thought of revenge faded. Only today did I reignite this thought. Yi, you won't blame me, right? After all, Forbert told Lin Yi that he had let go of his hatred and would take care of House Chu wholeheartedly. That was why Lin Yi was helping him. Lin Yi helped him because he wanted him to protect House Chu, not to take revenge. Only with hatred can there be motivation. Lin Yi smiled. Your hatred is the same as the destruction of your family. If you really let it go, I won't say anything, but I will look down on you. I believe that one day, you will take revenge with your own hands. Thank you, Yi. Forbert was touched. He didn't think that Lin Yi would support him. You're welcome. But let me make a joke, Forbert. Before you have absolute strength, you should stay in House Chu and protect Yao Yaro and Shu. Unless you surpass me one day, I will let you take revenge. Lin Yi said this not because he looked down on Forbert, but because he wanted him to find a suitable position. Forbert suddenly became Mystic early phase, and it was inevitable that he would feel a sense of self-confidence. This wasn't a good mentality. Even Wu Chentian wanted to take revenge on Uncle Zhu, not to mention Forbert. So Lin Yi had to pour cold water on him. He had to let him know that he wasn't the strongest. If he couldn't even beat Lin Yi, How could he take revenge? I understand. Forbert nodded solemnly. Thank you for the reminder. My mentality was indeed a bit off today. Forbert, naturally, knew why Lin Yi would say something like this. It was encouragement before, and now it was a warning. Forbert was very grateful. All right, now that Forbert and Chentian are here to protect Yaro Yaro and Shu, I can leave without worry. Lin Yi had done what he needed to do. The only thing he was worried about was Ying Ziyu. Thinking of Ziyu, Lin Yi couldn't help but think of Xiao Xiao. Last time he went to see Ziyu, Lin Yi brought Xiao Xiao with him. But this time, he was alone. He said that he was going to test Ziyu's homework in a week, but because of Xiao Xiao, it was delayed. This was Armadillo's little sister. Before Lin Yi left, he had to go see her. At least, he had to make sure that she was better. If not, he'd transfer her to Songshan's first junior high and have Zhu Ruoming look after her for him. Delinquent girls had to be watched by gangsters. This time, Lin Yi drove to Fushan Middle School. Looking at the empty seat, Lin Yi sighed. Every time he drove this rover out, Lin Yi couldn't help but think of the days he spent with Xiao Xiao. From hate at first, to love later. It wasn't something that was engraved in his heart, but Lin Yi still remembered it. That love was short, but it was intense. It was a love of life and death. The car stopped at the entrance of Fushan High School. At the entrance of the school, there were a few young men with colorful hair. They were obviously the type of gangsters. I say, hey bro, where did this pretty boy come from? Is he coming to our school to get some girls? Should we spend some money? One of the gangsters couldn't help but drool as he looked at Lin Yi's rover. These people were used to robbing and blackmailing people, and now that there was a fat sheep on their doorstep, they were naturally envious. Spend your ass. Hey Ge kicked the hooligan in the face and knocked out a few of his front teeth. He couldn't speak with his mouth full of air. Then he quickly ran to the school gate and opened the 2 iron gates. He shouted, Guru Lin, you're here. Please come in. Hey bro knew that it wasn't easy for him to get his position as the boss of Fushan Middle School. He got it by picking up scraps, so he became more careful and vigilant, afraid that Zhu Ruoguang would take him down if he didn't do a good job. And so, Hey bro had memorized Lin Yi's face the first day he took up the position, putting him on the list of people he absolutely couldn't mess with. How could he not be careful when even Zhu Ruoguang was afraid of him? And so, Hey bro recognized Lin Yi right away. You're that lil Hey guy, right? Lin Yi said, recognizing Hey bro, it's me, Hayoshi Lin, you still remember me? Hey bro's face lit up with joy when he heard Lin Yi's words. Hayoshi Lin, you're here to see Miss Ziyu, right? Don't worry, after you left, I've followed your instructions and made sure Miss Ziyu goes to class every day. I've also arranged for the best students in the school to study with her. You've done well. Lin Yi nodded, feeling that this Hey bro was quite understanding. But this guy was also quite amazing, being able to arrange for the students with the best grades to be together. It's what I should do. Hey bro smiled. Chapter 1445. Chapter 1443, Ying Ziyu's changes soon. Lin Yi found Ziyu's class. They should be having English class right now. Lin Yi stood at the window and looked in, satisfied. At least, this class was like a real class. It wasn't as chaotic as the last time he came, no different from the market. It seemed that Hey bro didn't lie to him. These were all students with good grades and love to learn. The next moment, Lin Yi started looking for Ziyu. Soon, Lin Yi found her in the crowd. Ziyu was wearing the school uniform, sitting with Chen Shi. Her hairstyle was the same as the one Lin Yi did for her last time. It wasn't weird anymore, and she didn't have any makeup on her face. But Ziyu kept frowning, evidently not understanding what the teacher was saying. Looking at her, Lin Yi found it a bit funny. It seemed that it was really hard on Ziyu. She hadn't studied much before, and her foundation was definitely bad. Cramming at the last minute wouldn't do her any good. But Lin Yi was just letting her experience the atmosphere, not expecting her to do well in one day. Even if she couldn't get into high school, Lin Yi could let her go to Songshan's first school. He didn't even need to show his face. The Miss or Forbert would be able to handle it. Lin Yi didn't go in and disturb her, standing at the door, waiting for the class to end. Not long after, the bell for the end of the class rang. The teacher on the podium also put away the lesson plan, announced the end of the class, and left the classroom. The students in the classroom rarely left the classroom. Some even went to the toilet. The students in this class were all students who loved to study. The high school entrance exam was coming soon, so these people naturally wouldn't waste time. It wasn't easy for the atmosphere in this class to be good, so everyone wanted to study even harder. Speaking of which, they had to thank Ziyu. If it weren't for her, they wouldn't be able to gather together. It was kind of like studying with the princess, except that her grades were really bad. After class, Ziyu didn't leave the classroom. She took out a workbook and asked Chen Shi seriously, and Chen Shi explained to her seriously as well. This scene made Lin Yi look at Ziyu in a new light. Lin Yi thought that she was just putting on an act to pass the time. He didn't expect her to really want to study. Lin Yi walked into the classroom and stopped beside Ziyu. Lil Hey, can you stop being so annoying? Coming to see me every day, and I already said I've started studying. You sure are a good dog, and Zhu Ruoguang's a wimp too. Why are you guys so obedient? Ziyu didn't raise her head, but she mumbled unhappily. Ha! Lin Yi smiled. Lil Hei's really doing his job. Ah! Ziyu paused. It wasn't Lil Hei. It was Lin Yi. Lin Yi bro, you're here. Chen Shi heard Lin Yi's voice and raised her head to look at Lin Yi, surprised and happy. Ian, you're teaching Ziyu questions? Lin Yi looked at the workbook in Ziyu's hands. It was a first-year workbook. It seemed like she started studying in first year questions? I've never studied before. Ziyu blushed, a little embarrassed. She was a third-year student, after all, and it was embarrassing to be looking at first-year workbooks. You're not bad, I see some changes. Weak basics can be slowly improved, Lin Yi nodded, satisfied. It's just that my basics are too weak, and it's not long before the high school exams. I'm afraid I'll just waste my effort then. Ziyu pouted, a little discouraged. Her change was forced by this tyrant, Lin Yi, but after studying with Chen Shi for a couple of days, she wasn't that resistant anymore. After all, learning knowledge was better than being a gangster. Ziyu wasn't stupid, she was just a little rebellious during puberty. Plus, the school environment was like this before, so she didn't have the heart to study. But now that she had the conditions, under Lin Yi's pressure, she slowly fell in love with studying. You just need to work hard. You don't have to worry about other things, but if you don't work hard and just want to sit back and enjoy the fruits of others' labor, then don't blame me for being rude. Lin Yi said seriously. I'll arrange for you and Chen Shi to study in Songshan's first school, but only this once. If you don't get the scholarship after you go, then you'll get beaten up. Ziyu was speechless. She breathed a sigh of relief when she heard what Lin Yi said. It seemed like she didn't need to study hard to get into a high school, but wasn't the condition a little too harsh? Get a scholarship. Get beaten up if you don't get the scholarship. What kind of logic was that? Even the parents of other students wouldn't ask for this, right? Ziyu didn't know what the criteria were, but she knew that only the top few students in a school would be able to get a scholarship. Ziyu felt that it would be very difficult, but thinking about Lin Yi's style, Ziyu felt her butt go numb. This guy might really beat her up. Chen Shi, on the other hand, was very happy. She didn't think that she'd be able to get into Songshan's first school as well. This was her dream school. She had some confidence, but she was worried that she wouldn't perform well. But with Lin Yi's promise, there wouldn't be a problem. Did you hear that? Lin Yi asked again, seeing that Ziyu didn't say anything. I heard it. I heard it. I heard it. Ziyu said angrily. You're such a bad person. Why would my brother let you manage me? You're not gentle at all. What's with all the bullshit? Is your butt itching? Lin Yi glared at her. Before your brother comes back, I'm the one watching over you. But hearing Ziyu mention armadillo, Lin Yi felt a little suffocated. There was still no news of him, and he didn't know if he was still in this world. If he told Ziyu about this, how much of a blow would she take? All right, I'll try my best, Ziyu said unwillingly under Lin Yi's pressure. Ian, I'll be going out for a while, half a year at most, a month at shortest. But I'll arrange things for you, Lin Yi said. Chapter 1446. You go compete, I guess so. Lin Yi didn't explain things that clearly. Remember, don't try anything funny. I'll have people keep an eye on you. Got it, got it. Ziyu said helplessly. Lin Yi nodded, relieved. Chen Shi, I'll leave Ziyu's studies to you then. I'll be going first. Okay, don't worry. Bye, Lin Yi big bro. Chen Shi waved at Lin Yi, her face a little red from the excitement. Bye. Ziyu wasn't as happy as Chen Shi. Lin Yi wasn't angry, however. He smiled and quickly left the classroom. Class was about to start, and Lin Yi couldn't stay here any longer. After Lin Yi left, Ziyu stood up and looked outside. After making sure Lin Yi was gone, she smiled and winked at Chen Shi. Shi, tell me, do you like that Lin Yi guy? What? Chen Shi jumped, her eyes wide. What? What did you say? I say, do you like that tyrant Lin Yi? Ziyu had been in society for years, and naturally matured a little. She'd seen things between men and women before, but she'd never tried it herself. She knew quite a bit, though, and started guessing when she saw Chen Shi blushing. I don't like him. Chen Shi didn't really mean what she said. Did she like him? Didn't like him? What did she mean by like? What did she mean by not liking him? Chen Shi didn't think about those kinds of relationships. She just thought that Lin Yi was a nice guy. Not only did he help her mother, but he also helped her a lot. In her heart, she started to worship Lin Yi. She had a good impression of Lin Yi, but she'd never thought about liking him. Look at you, you're blushing and stuttering, and you're calling Lin Yi big bro so intimately. Ziyu giggled. Chen Shi was flustered and didn't know how to explain. She started to speak incoherently. He's older than us. I didn't expect it. Xiaoxi, you've actually fallen in love. Do you need Sis Ziyu to give you some advice? Although I'm not as good as you in learning, I have experience in this area. Ziyu finally found something she was better at than Chen Shi. She patted her chest happily. Ha! Ziyu sis, you've been in love before? Chen Shi paused. I've never eaten pork before, but I've seen a pig run before. Ziyu stuttered. I've seen more than you. Oh. But Lin Yi big bro has a girlfriend already, right? And she's really pretty too. Chen Shi didn't know what to say, but she didn't know if she liked Lin Yi or not. She just went along with Ziyu's words. It's fine if you have a girlfriend, you can go fight for her. Ziyu was a little pissed off at the thought of that girl beside Lin Yi. She was the one who told Lin Yi to spank her last time, and she'd remember that. Wasn't that girl a little too mean? Why didn't she tell Lin Yi to spank her? No. I can't fight with Xiao sis, she's really nice to me. Chen Shi shook her head. How could I do something like that? Nice. That Xiao girl's so mean, she wants that tyrant Lin Yi to spank me, Ziyu said. Don't worry, with my support, I'll make sure you catch up to your Lin Yi big bro. What am I saying? Chen Shi finally snapped out of her stupor and blushed at what she said. Ziyu sis, I was just talking nonsense, I didn't mean it like that. Don't misunderstand. Hey, you accidentally said the truth, I understand. Ziyu said. Time for class, I'm going to class. Chen Shi blushed and ignored Ziyu. After Lin Yi left Fushan High, he told Forbert about Ziyu and Chen Shi. Forbert, naturally, agreed without hesitation. This was nothing to him, and Lin Yi was also a shareholder of Pengzhan Industries. Lin Yi breathed a sigh of relief as he thought that the matters before he left were more or less settled. In fact, Lin Yi was most worried about the Miss, Shu, and Tang Yun's safety. He even thought of forcefully raising their strength to mystic class, but he didn't have a suitable practitioner's arts for them to practice. The art of dragon mastery wasn't suitable for girls, and Lin Yi didn't have any other practitioner's arts. The difference between humans and spirit beasts was that spirit beasts could increase their strength without a practitioner's arts, but humans couldn't. So, Lin Yi decided to slowly search for something suitable for the Miss and the others. This way, he wouldn't have to worry too much. On the way back to the villa, Lin Yi thought about Lingshan and Yutian. He wondered how they were, if the tomb robbery was over yet. Lin Yi thought about it and decided to give Lingshan a call before he left. After all, the two were good friends now, and he didn't know how long it would be before he came back. He wouldn't be able to help her solve the case. With that thought, Lin Yi dialed Lingshan's number. Lingshan had been hesitating whether she should call Lin Yi or not. She knew that Lin Yi was a doctor, and although Yu Tian was receiving the best treatment in the hospital, Lingshan felt that Lin Yi should be better. Plus, in the tomb, Elder Yu said that General Weiwu, who was with Lin Yi, was a healer spirit beast. Lingshan didn't know if Elder Yu was bullshitting or not, because she knew where that dog came from. It was just a normal dog that Lin Yi had forcefully increased its strength. It wasn't much different from her and Yu Tian. How was this a spirit beast? As a result, she didn't really believe that the spirit beast could heal wounds. But whether she believed it or not, Lingshan felt that she should tell Lin Yi. In her heart, Lin Yi was almost omnipotent. As long as she had something, she could find Lin Yi, and no matter how difficult it was, Lin Yi could solve it easily. But Yu Tian didn't let her tell Lin Yi, and this put her in a difficult spot. On one hand, she didn't want to go back on her promise, but on the other hand, she felt that only Lin Yi could solve this problem. Just when Lingshan was hesitating, her phone rang. Lingshan thought it was a coworker, so she picked up the phone. Hello. Chapter 1447. Chapter 1445. Lin Yi's rage. Lin Yi? Lingshan stood up abruptly, pleasantly surprised. She wanted to call Lin Yi, but she couldn't make up her mind. But Lin Yi was the one who called her, so she made up her mind. Lin Yi was the one who called her, so it wasn't her fault. It's me. Did you hear what I told you? Lin Yi frowned. Was there something wrong with this song girl? It wasn't the first time he'd called her, so why was she acting like this? Oh, I heard. What did you say? Lingshan jumped in fright as she stuttered. Lin Yi was speechless. What's going on in that head of yours? I said I was planning on going on a long trip these couple of days to find the fire spirit's fruit for Xiao Xiao, so I called you. If there's a case in the future, don't come looking for me, I'm nowhere to be found. Ah, you're leaving already? Lingshan wasn't expecting Lin Yi to leave so soon. What about Yu Tian? At that thought, she didn't care anymore. Lin Yi, something happened to Yu Tian. Yu Tian? Something happened? What happened? Lin Yi paused, confused. Yu Tian was heavily injured by House Yu's Yufeng, and his meridians are all severed. He's in Songshan's first hospital right now. Lingshan smiled bitterly. What? Why didn't you say so earlier? Lin Yi stopped the car on the side of the road in shock. What's going on, exactly? Why did Yufeng hit him? This. Speaking of which, it's all because of me, Lingshan said, feeling a little guilty and blaming herself. Because of you? What does it have to do with you? Lin Yi didn't understand how Lingshan got into trouble with Yufeng. House Yu and House Song wanted to unite by marriage, but Grandpa didn't ask for my permission before he married me to Yufeng. Lingshan didn't think much of it before, thinking that Yufeng would back off. After all, it was Lingshan who didn't agree, and Yufeng would give up after a while. Who would have thought that Yu Tian would step in at this moment? Yu Tian was doing this out of goodwill, and Lingshan really didn't know what to do. Yufeng, that kid's character is too bad, and I'm about to destroy his family. Don't marry him if you don't want to be a widow. Speaking of House Yu, Lin Yi thought of Ziyu and Armadillo. Huaijuan had already said that behind the international drug gang, there was a shadow of House Yu. Naturally, Lin Yi wouldn't let them go. Plus, the hatred was already set, and Lin Yi wasn't afraid of House Yu at all. If they didn't like him, then they could send people to deal with him. At first, Lin Yi was worried about House Yu's Earth-class boss Yu, but now it seemed that the old man was a complete coward. Of course I don't want to marry him. I told him a couple of times, but he wouldn't listen, always bothering me. Lingshan calmed down after hearing Lin Yi's words. Since Lin Yi had plans to cause trouble for House Yu, then Yu Tian was just an excuse to make Lin Yi even angrier. It wouldn't bring any trouble to Lin Yi. And then Yu Tian saw it and got jealous, so he fought with Yufeng? Lin Yi guessed. How am I jealous? Isn't it because of you? Lingshan quickly defended Yu Tian after hearing Lin Yi's words. Because of me. Lin Yi didn't understand why did it have to do with him again. Because I like you. Lingshan felt a little embarrassed after saying that, but she was a straightforward person, so she didn't feel too awkward. Yu Tian knew that I liked you, so he didn't want Yufeng to waste time, but Yufeng didn't listen. Lingshan told Lin Yi what happened, and Lin Yi didn't know what to say. This was a misunderstanding, no wonder Yufeng hit him so hard. But then again, what Yu Tian did wasn't wrong, and Yufeng was just too cruel. If Lingshan really had some sort of relationship with him, then it would be reasonable for him to hit her. But now, Lingshan didn't like him at all, and he hit Yu Tian. This was beyond what Lin Yi could tolerate. Lin Yi was a very protective person, especially when Yu Tian's business involved himself. Lin Yi couldn't just sit by and watch. I'll go to the hospital now, wait for me there. With that, Lin Yi drove towards the hospital. Lin Yi was planning to go search for the fruit in 2 days, but with Yu Tian's business, Lin Yi couldn't just leave now. He had to deal with Yu Tian first before leaving. He could take revenge later, but Yu Tian's injuries had to be healed. Lin Yi quickly drove to the hospital, waiting for Lingshan in the parking lot. Not long after, Lingshan's cheetah drove over. Lin Yi waved at her, and she stopped beside him. "You're here." Lingshan quickly got out after parking the car and smiled at Lin Yi. She looked a little haggard, much thinner than when she was in the tomb, surprising Lin Yi. "I just arrived, I don't know where Yu Tian's room is." "Bring me there," Lin Yi said. "It's in front of us." Lingshan nodded, not saying much as she walked with Lin Yi. "Why didn't you call me earlier?" Lin Yi wondered if Lingshan wouldn't have contacted him if he didn't call her. "I wanted to. But Yu Tian didn't let me tell you. 1. He was afraid that you'd do something irrational and go to house you for revenge, and 2. He was afraid that Yu Shu would be worried." Lingshan explained, "I hesitated a few times, but I couldn't make up my mind. If you didn't call me today, I probably wouldn't have told you. Don't you always look for me when something happens? What's wrong with you this time?" Lin Yi frowned. "Next time something like this happens, tell me immediately." "Oh, I'm sorry." Lingshan felt wronged. "How would I know that you're so capable, going to house you? We've been enemies for a long time, it's not like you don't know that." Lin Yi said, "Alright, let's not talk about that. Did House Yu do anything?" "House Yu took advantage of me and complained to my grandpa and Grandpa Chen, saying that I broke the engagement, and that Yu Tian said that he and I." Lingshan stopped there, believing that Lin Yi would understand. Chapter 1448. Lin Yi nodded and asked, "When is the meeting of the noble houses?" Lin Yi had heard both Fatty Lai and Shuamin talk about it before, saying that House King wanted to compete for the chance to become a noble house, but Lin Yi wanted to go to the noble house meeting and cause trouble for House Yu. They've sent out the invitations already, and they're making preparations now. It should be this month or next month, no later than 2 months. Lingshan said. Every noble house meeting takes less than 2 months from the time of preparation to the time of the event. Fortunately, I should be able to make it in time. I'll go look for the fire spirit's fruit and find an opportunity to break through. Lin Yi sighed. Once I break through to Earth class, I can turn you and Yu Qian Bro into Earth class. At that time, I'll turn the noble house meeting into a memorial for House Yu. Lin Yi was only mystic mid-phase peak, and while it was more than enough to deal with Yu Feng, he didn't have full confidence against Shurashing. After all, Shurashing was a mystic late-phase peak, and he heard that Shurashing's brother was an Earth-class early phase. He had entered the hidden House Yu to train, but when House Yu was in danger, he couldn't just stand by and do nothing. So if Lin Yi wanted to win, he had to increase his strength. He didn't know what position that elder Yu he met in the tomb had in the hidden House Yu, and did he know Shurashing's brother? But that didn't matter. Even if that elder Yu helped, Lin Yi wasn't afraid of him. He could scare him away when he was still mystic, and if he was an Earth class, then elder Yu would probably run away. Lingshan couldn't help but widen her mouth in shock after hearing the word. From Lin Yi's words, Lin Yi was preparing to cause a scene in the noble house meeting. But this news wasn't as shocking as the previous one. Lin Yi was going to turn her and Yu Tian into Earth class? Lingshan felt like she was daydreaming, wasn't she? In the blink of an eye, Earth class wasn't a dream anymore. It's so close now. Once upon a time, Lingshan had dreamt of becoming a golden class late phase peak. That was something that she couldn't even dream of, but now, all of this was because of Lin Yi. If he didn't know Lin Yi, wouldn't he still be an early phase golden class master? Lingshan couldn't help but blush as she thought back to the first time she met Lin Yi, and how people misunderstood her as helping Lin Yi. But, if she could go back in time, Lingshan thought that she'd admit to it right there and then. What do you think? Lingshan felt that if Lin Yi had brought it up, she might have actually agreed. Lingshan's eyes flashed with a strange, alluring light as she bit her lips and looked at Lin Yi lovingly, her face abnormally red. Lin Yi. You're so good to me, are you horny? Lin Yi jumped. He didn't know what was going on with Lingshan, but why did she look like she was horny? They were talking about serious business. Why did this happen all of a sudden? Lingshan was a little annoyed, blaming Lin Yi for not understanding the situation. This guy seemed to be infatuated sometimes, but he was also an idiot at other times. For Xiao Xiao, he'd go to a dangerous place like the ancient tomb, and he'd go even further to search for the fire spirit's fruit. He didn't even look at her. Nope, how am I supposed to horny if you don't get naked? Lingshan said to Lin Yi. Let's go see Yutian bro first. Lin Yi didn't continue on the topic. Towards Lingshan, Lin Yi didn't know what he felt. If he said he liked her, it was naturally a little. He wasn't a plant or a tree, he couldn't be emotionless. He'd been with Lingshan a lot of things, and their relationship had gone from being enemies at the start to being weird and subtle. What made Lin Yi feel helpless was that Lingshan seemed to have set her sights on him, just because he'd seen her naked once, as if he was the only one she could marry. Lingshan didn't seem like a conservative person, but that was exactly what she was. But it was impossible for Lin Yi to fall in love with her. Because of his lust for beauties, Lin Yi only had a good impression of her, but it'd be troublesome once it turned into action. But it seemed like there was a lot of trouble right now. Lingshan gritted her teeth at Lin Yi's avoidance of the topic, but there was nothing she could do. This was the first time she'd fallen for a man, and as she got to know him, she became more and more infatuated with him. This man had too many secrets, and he was abnormally strong. He was just right for her. Lin Yi wasn't just a little stronger than her, he was way, way stronger. Although Lin Yi was only mystic mid-phase peak right now, Lingshan believed that Lin Yi would achieve even greater things in the future. If Lin Yi didn't have the confidence, he wouldn't have said something like turning the noble house meeting into House Yu's death anniversary. Out of all the noble houses in the common world, who would dare to say that they wanted to destroy House Yu? Even the hidden houses wouldn't dare say something like that, let alone normal houses. Everyone knew that House Yu had the support of the hidden House Yu, and the hidden House Yu was one of the strongest of the hidden houses. Who would dare go against them? But Lin Yi just had to do it, and he did it, and he was still living so carefreely after doing it. Lingshan couldn't help but sigh. It was really frustrating to compare oneself to another. Judging from Lin Yi's tone, Xie Yufeng had suffered a lot from Lin Yi in school, but he was still so arrogant in front of Yutian. If she'd known this would happen, she would have asked Lin Yi to chase Yufeng away first, and this wouldn't have happened. The two walked side by side to the hospital, and they saw a familiar face. Guanxin. Lin Yi saw Guanxin first, and greeted her with a smile. She was a shy girl he'd met when he first came to Songshan, and Lin Yi had a good impression of her. After that, because of Xu Amin, Lin Yi and Guanxin got closer. Chapter 1449. Guanxin knew Lingshan as well, but she didn't have a good impression of the girl. She thought that there was something wrong with the girl's style, helping Lin Yi in the hospital in broad daylight. Guanxin didn't believe that Lin Yi was that kind of person, but the rumors in the hospital were spreading like wildfire, as if it were true. She'd met Lingshan when she was kidnapped by the assassin who wanted to kill Liu Buojia, but she'd made a report in a hurry. They didn't have much of a relationship, but she knew that Lingshan was from House Song, and that she was close to Huaijuan Bro. She seemed to be his junior. Hello, Officer Song. Guanxin didn't like her, but she was a careful girl. Since Lingshan was with Lin Yi, Guanxin couldn't just ignore Lingshan. It'd embarrass Lin Yi, and so she greeted Lingshan. Guanxin, is it? I remember you. Lingshan nodded with a smile. Lingshan was no longer in the mood to be jealous of Lin Yi's beautiful girls. She couldn't be jealous anymore. There were too many of them. She just hoped that Lin Yi would pay more attention to her. Being from a big house, Lingshan didn't care too much about stuff like that. This was one of the reasons why she was able to accept it. Lin Yi, why are you here? Are you sick, or are you here to visit a friend? Guanxin asked. I'm here to visit a friend. Lin Yi said. How have you been? I haven't been to your house in a while. Is Grandpa Guan doing well? Grandpa is doing well. Guanxin felt a little sad at the mention of her grandpa. Her grandpa could tell that Lin Yi wasn't going to be his disciple, nor was he going to be House Guan's grandson-in-law. However, Guan Shuamin didn't want to leave without a successor, and so he wanted to send Guanxin to an old friend's place to learn about Eastern medicine. That way, House Guan would have a successor. But Guanxin didn't want to leave. She didn't feel like a doctor. She felt that being a nurse was better than being a doctor. At home, she helped Shuamin get medicine and brew it. She was familiar with it, but she didn't have the confidence to save lives. Secondly, she'd have to leave Songshan. Even though Lin Yi had clearly rejected the idea of becoming House Guan's grandson-in-law, Guanxin only wanted to quietly protect her own happiness. She wanted to be able to silently pay attention and miss Lin Yi. Even if they didn't see each other often, they were still in the same city, so there were still chances to see each other occasionally. Just like now, the two of them were meeting each other. Guanxin didn't want to leave, but she didn't want to disappoint her grandpa either. She knew that her grandpa had spent his entire life studying medicine, and he wanted his descendants to have achievements in this field as well. Guanxin, however, was only a normal nurse, and that was disappointing. Shuamin didn't say much about it because he loved Guanxin, but after meeting Lin Yi and talking to him, he felt that it was time for his granddaughter to learn something. Otherwise, the gap between Lin Yi and Guanxin would only grow bigger and bigger, and the distance between them would only grow bigger and bigger. Shuamin knew what Guanxin was thinking, and he wanted to make Guanxin and Lin Yi together. That was why he made this decision, and told Guanxin about it. But Guanxin felt that no matter what she did, Lin Yi wouldn't choose her. Lin Yi already had his lover, and she'd met her before. She was a beautiful and youthful girl, so why would she want to ruin their relationship? As for studying, Guanxin really didn't think that she was cut out for it, so she was conflicted. Now that she saw Lin Yi, she suddenly had the urge to talk to him. All right then. I'll go see my friend first, and I'll visit Grandpa Guan in the next 2 days. Lin Yi was about to leave, so he naturally had to pay Shuamin a visit. He'd also tell Fatty Lai about the medicine company. Lin Yi. Are you free later? Guanxin bit her lips and finally opened her mouth to ask. She wasn't someone who liked to take the initiative, but this was an important matter, so she wanted to discuss it with Lin Yi and see what Lin Yi thought. No matter what Lin Yi said, she would listen to Lin Yi. Almost. Why? Is there something you need? Lin Yi asked. I have something I need your help with. Guanxin said carefully. Sure, I'll call you when I'm done here. In Lin Yi's impression, Guanxin usually didn't look for him on her own. Now that she was looking for him, it must be something important. Naturally, Lin Yi wouldn't reject her. Guanxin nodded happily when she saw that Lin Yi agreed, her face a little red from excitement. Then I'll wait for your call. Ha! All right. Lin Yi smiled. Lingshan, on the other hand, was a little unhappy as they walked through the door. Why was Guanxin blushing? Lin Yi didn't say that she was in heat, but why did she have to be in heat when it came to her? Lingshan wasn't happy at all. Why was her treatment so different from others? Yutian's room was the innermost room on the 3rd floor. Yutian purposely chose this position to not attract attention. He purposely hid the news of his injury, and only his grandpa and some noble houses knew about it. His other friends didn't know about it. Usually, no one came to visit Yutian except for Lingshan. So when Lingshan pushed the door open, Chen Yutian naturally thought that it was Lingshan who came to visit him because the nurse and doctor had just left. Lingshan, you're here again? Didn't I say that you're busy with your case? You don't need to come visit me. I'm an adult, I can take care of myself. It's fine. Yutian said directly. Yutian bro, why did you hide it from me? If I didn't come to the hospital to visit a friend and met Lingshan, I wouldn't know about it. Lin Yi cleverly avoided Lingshan's responsibility, saying that it was a coincidence that he came here, and that Lingshan wasn't the one who snitched on him. Lingshan looked at Lin Yi gratefully. She didn't think that he'd be so nice to her. Lin Yi. You're here. Yu Tian paused and felt a little embarrassed. I'm sorry to disappoint you. You spent so much effort to help me get stronger, but now, I'm a cripple. You wasted your effort. Chapter 1450. Lin Yi. I knew you would say that. Yu Tian couldn't help but smile bitterly. I didn't want Lingshan to tell you because I didn't want you to act rashly and take revenge for me. You have to know that House Yu doesn't only have Yu Feng, there's also the head of House Yu, Shiraishing, who's a mystic late-phase peak. There's also a big brother who entered the hidden noble house, and he's an Earth-class early phase. If you go, I'm afraid. Besides, the noble houses have their own rules. The noble house meeting is about to begin, and the conflicts between the noble houses must be resolved during the meeting. The conflict between House Chen and House Yu must be resolved through House Chen's people. If you go, Lin Yi, you won't have a legitimate reason to do so, and it'll make House Chen's position even more awkward. Lin Yi froze. He didn't know that there was such a rule in the noble house meeting. Although Lin Yi had a certain understanding of the noble house meeting, he only heard it from Fatty Lai, Guan Shuamin, and the others. However, these people were just outsiders, and they didn't have the qualifications to participate in the noble house meeting, so their knowledge was limited. However, Lin Yi didn't even think about taking revenge for Yu Tian personally. He wanted Yu Tian to do it himself. Who said I'm going to do it for you? Lin Yi smiled and asked back. Ah! Yu Tian froze. He didn't expect Lin Yi to say this. Didn't you say that? I can't let this go. It's true that I can't let this go. But, I'm not the one doing it, you're the one doing it. Lin Yi said, don't tell me that you, as a man, don't want to avenge yourself with your own hands. Yes. Yu Tian didn't hide it. He gritted his teeth and said this word, but then he smiled bitterly. Lin Yi, you don't know my current situation, do you? Many of my meridians are broken. Even if I recover, I'll only be paralyzed if you raise my strength to mystic early phase. I won't be able to use half of my strength. Ha! Lin Yi smiled. Why are you so lacking in confidence? You're not as optimistic as your sister. What do you mean? Yu Tian froze. General Wei Wu was beaten by Yu Kuan to the point that he was on his last breath. Not to mention his meridians, even his internal organs were displaced. Didn't he become a golden class? Oh, a mystic class dog. Lin Yi said, back then, your sister told Yao Yao that I could definitely cure General Wei Wu. What was the result? Yu Tian wasn't stupid naturally, he knew that Lin Yi knew medicine. He had heard from his sister and Lingshan that Lin Yi's medical skills were superb, but he didn't expect Lin Yi to be able to repair meridians. After all, repairing meridians was House Sun's specialty. Even the hidden houses couldn't do it. They had to rely on meridian opening pills to repair damaged meridians. How could he expect Lin Yi to be able to repair meridians? So, from Yu Tian's point of view, Lin Yi was only skilled in medicine and could raise a person's strength. As for repairing meridians, it was impossible. He thought that even if he found Lin Yi, it would only be faster than the hospital. But now, Lin Yi's words were clear. He should be able to repair meridians. You mean, you can repair the damaged meridians in my body? Yu Tian widened his eyes in disbelief as he looked at Lin Yi. Really? You're not joking? One couldn't blame Chen Yu Tian for being agitated. He had been living in low spirits for the past few days. Although it had been some time, and he had thought through a lot of things, no matter who it was, they wouldn't be able to accept it, but there was nothing they could do. But now, Lin Yi told him that he could repair meridians. Yu Tian's dead heart was burning up again. Yes, I specialize in repairing damaged meridians. Lin Yi nodded and joked. Why don't you say that you can repair spaceships? Yu Tian was amused by Lin Yi's words. It was the first joke he made in a while. I think I can. Lin Yi thought that since his energy was omnipotent, could he repair spaceships too? But it was just a thought. Haha. Yu Tian laughed. Lin Yi, why do I feel like you're omnipotent? I finally know why Lingshan likes you. If I were a woman, I'd marry you too. You're a treasure bowl. Ha! Lin Yi didn't continue the topic. I'll heal your meridians and restore your strength. But as for revenge, we'll talk about it when I come back. I'm not in a hurry. Yu Tian wasn't a reckless man. How could he go to Yu Feng for revenge? Otherwise, he wouldn't have kept it a secret from Lin Yi. He was afraid that Lin Yi would act on impulse. As for this injury, it wasn't because Yu Tian was impulsive. It was because he didn't expect Yu Feng to act so impulsively. There's still some time before the meeting of the noble houses. I can wait. If it doesn't work this time, I'll wait for the next time. It's never too late for revenge. It's good that you think like that. Lin Yi nodded. At the end of the day, it's because we're not strong enough. If I were an Earth class now, why would I be afraid of House Yu? But now, I'm afraid. Just like you said, House Yu has a mystic late phase peak master and a hidden Earth class early phase master. These two are our enemies. If you want to kill Yu Feng, it's impossible that they won't stop you. What I need to do is to clear the obstacles for you. You mean? You want to destroy House Yu? Yu Tian was stunned after hearing Lin Yi's words. Yu Tian thought that after Lin Yi helped him increase his strength, he would challenge Yu Feng at the meeting of the noble houses and defeat him fair and square. He didn't expect that Lin Yi would want to destroy their entire family. Yeah, since we're going to do it, we shouldn't leave any loose ends. Lin Yi said. So this time, searching for the fire spirit's fruit might be an opportunity for me to break through. When I come back and break through to Earth class, you'll all be Earth class masters. With you guys by my side, what's House Yu? Yeah. Yu Tian was infected by Lin Yi's heroism. With 3 Earth class masters, even House Yu's boss wouldn't be able to do anything. Thinking about the limelight at the meeting of the noble houses, Yu Tian felt his blood pumping. It sounded like a fairy tale, but Lin Yi had been through a lot of fairy tales before, wasn't it? Being able to increase one's strength and repair one's meridians, which of these were not fantasies before he had seen them? Lingshan felt dizzy as well. She felt that she liked Lin Yi more and more. Chapter 1451. I'm healed. My strength recovered too. Chen Yutian couldn't even dream that he would go from a bedridden cripple to a normal person who could walk around as he pleased in such a short amount of time. Yeah, what else do you want? Lin Yi nodded and said matter-of-factly. Yutian's injury looked heavy, but it wasn't as heavy as General Wei Wu's. At most, it was similar to Chen Tian's, so Lin Yi healed him quickly. Yu Tian's meridians were healed, so naturally, his strength returned. Yu Tian didn't lose much of his strength this time. He didn't even fight Yu Feng, so he didn't lose any of his strength. It was just that his meridians were injured, so his strength was suppressed. This was different from the time when Lin Yi broke all his meridians. Lin Yi compressed all the qi in his body and sent it out, but Yu Tian didn't. So this treatment was very short. It only lasted for a few hours, and Chen Yutian was back to normal. Lingshan was already used to Lin Yi's miraculousness. She wasn't shocked anymore, so she said, I think you've recovered too. See, I told Lin Yi earlier, he's omnipotent. I didn't want to cause trouble for Lin Yi. I didn't expect my strength to recover so easily. Yutian smiled bitterly as he touched his broken legs. Chen Yutian smiled bitterly as he touched his broken legs. He didn't feel any discomfort at all. The other noble houses all know about your injury, right? Lin Yi asked. Yeah, basically. With House Yu's publicity, I became a laughing stock. Yutian said embarrassedly, but Lin Yi, I really don't have that kind of feelings for Lingshan anymore. Don't misunderstand, I know that girl's a bit of an idiot. It's normal for you to lose interest in her. Lin Yi joked with a smile. Lingshan wanted to kill Lin Yi. Who was the idiot? Just look at me like a fool, okay? Ha ha. Yutian couldn't help but laugh, but shut his mouth when he saw Lingshan's dark face. Since that's the case, there's no hurry to spread the news of your recovery. When the time comes, we'll launch a counterattack at the aristocratic families meeting to achieve a shocking effect. Lin Yi said, otherwise, it won't be good for them to be on guard. But in this case, I'll have to trouble your old man and let him be sad for a while. I know what's important. Don't worry. Just wait until the moment I appear in the aristocratic family assembly. Grandpa will be happy. Chen Yutian knew the importance of the matter and wasn't in a rush to tell his grandpa. Otherwise, if his grandpa's expression changed and House Yu found out, the plan would be disrupted. I'll go first, Guanxin has something to talk to me about. Lin Yi went to find Guanxin after dealing with Chen Yuqian's matter. Then I'll keep pretending to be sick in the room? Yuqian asked. Ian, I'll tell Guanxin's grandpa about this. You can stay here until I come back. It won't affect your training, Lin Yi said. Right, speaking of training, I have something I want to ask you. Lingshan didn't want to dwell on Guanxin's problem. She took the initiative to ignore Guanxin. What is it? Lin Yi was about to leave the room when he heard Lingshan's words. He stopped in his tracks. It's about the progress of my training. After I reached Mystic Early Phase, I've been busy with cases, but I didn't give up on training even when I was resting. I used every minute and second to train, but it seems like there's no progress at all. Lingshan asked curiously. I wasn't Mystic before, and I didn't know about these things. So I wanted to ask, is it really that hard to train after Mystic? After Mystic, it's very hard to increase your strength by even a little bit. That's true, and the qi here is very thin. It's normal for you to make little progress, Lin Yi said. But why do I feel like there's no effect at all? When I was golden class, I would feel a little effect every time I trained, Lingshan said, confused. No effect at all? Lin Yi paused. Maybe it's too slow, and you can't feel it. After all, the difference between Mystic and Golden class is very big. Lin Yi didn't train in the Jade space at the very beginning, and the rest of his time was spent in the Jade space. He wasn't sure if Mystic class could be trained in this kind of environment. After all, the qi here was too thin, and it was normal for training to be slow. Maybe so. Lingshan nodded helplessly. Lin Yi didn't think much of what Lingshan said, and called Guanxin as soon as he left the room. Lin Yi. Guanxin was overjoyed when she received Lin Yi's call. You're done with work? Yeah, where are you? Still in the hospital? Lin Yi looked at the time. It was already 7 at night, and Guanxin should have gotten off work by now. Yeah, I'm at the hospital, working overtime. You're at the hospital too? Guanxin had an appointment with Lin Yi, so naturally, she didn't leave the hospital. I'm here too. Where are you? I'll go look for you. Lin Yi asked. It's okay, I'll pack my stuff. Let's meet at the hospital entrance. Guanxin asked. Sure, let's meet at the parking lot in front of the hospital. My car's parked there, Lin Yi said. 10 minutes later, Lin Yi saw Guanxin running towards him from the parking lot. Guanxin had already changed out of her nurse uniform, and was wearing a very quiet shirt. Her hair was tied up casually behind her head, and she looked like a student who was doing her internship at the hospital. You look very young, don't you? Lin Yi smiled. I'm not that old to begin with. Guanxin knew Lin Yi's age, and that she was a bit older than Lin Yi. So when she dressed up, she didn't know that Lin Yi was older than Guanxin. Ha! You haven't eaten yet, right? Let me treat you to dinner. Lin Yi looked at Guanxin's abdomen, and guessed that she hadn't eaten. Lin Yi was a doctor, and his observation skills were sharper. Guanxin might have eaten, but not very much. Chapter 1452. Since Lin Yi didn't know about it, Guanxin decided to keep it as her little secret. What do you want to eat? I don't even dare to pick a random restaurant in front of a chef like you. It'll be hard on you if the food doesn't taste good, Lin Yi asked with a smile after he invited Guanxin into the car. Whatever. I'm not that picky. The food in the hospital's cafeteria isn't that good, but you still have to eat. Guanxin smiled. Just pick a random restaurant. It was Lin Yi's first time inviting Guanxin to a meal, and it wasn't appropriate to go to a bad place. He thought about it and decided to go to Pengzhan Business Hotel. It was more secluded, and it was considered his family's turf. It wasn't convenient. There's no need for such a good place, right? Guanxin saw that Lin Yi had parked the car in the hotel's parking lot, and she felt that it was too luxurious. She was born in a wealthy family, but she didn't have the habit of luxury. She was better than Miss in this aspect. Miss wasn't as delicate as those other girls, but she didn't have much of a concept when it came to spending money. It's Yoroiro's hotel. I have a VIP card here, so it's not too expensive, Lin Yi explained. Oh. Guanxin knew who Meng Yaro was. She knew that she was the girl Lin Yi was protecting in the bank. To be honest, Guanxin was a little envious of her. Even if she wasn't Lin Yi's girlfriend, she could at least spend time with Lin Yi. The two asked for a small room, and after ordering a few dishes, Lin Yi asked, Xin, is there something important that you want to talk to me about? Yeah, there's something. I can't make up my mind, so I'd like you to give me some advice. Xin blushed, embarrassed. It won't cause you any trouble, will it? It's nothing. It's normal for friends to discuss things. What's the matter? Just say it. I'll see if I can give you some advice. Lin Yi agreed readily. It's like this. Grandpa wants me to learn medicine from his friend. But it's not something I like. I don't think I'm cut out to be a doctor. I've always wanted to be a nurse since I was young, and whenever Grandpa treats people, I'd help him get the medicine and boil it. My control of the heat and the weight was always perfect, and Grandpa even said that I was born to be a doctor, but it's been so many years, I've grown up, and I think I still like to get the medicine and boil it, and I still like being a nurse. Xin started talking about her own life. I don't want to disappoint Grandpa, but I'm not cut out for it. It's about that. To be honest, Lin Yi didn't really want to get involved in what Xin was talking about. After all, it was related to Xueming's wishes, and Lin Yi didn't want Xin to go against him. Yeah, I'm in a bit of a pickle. What do you think I should do, Lin Yi? Xin looked at Lin Yi with a headache. You like to get the medicine and boil it. What if you just want to study the properties of Chinese medicine? Would you like that? Lin Yi was also having a headache, but he came up with a compromise after thinking about it. Of course I'd like that. Xin nodded. I've always liked to help Grandpa make medicine since I was young. I don't know why, but every time I do it, I feel a sense of familiarity. Maybe it's because I was born in a house that smelled like Chinese medicine. Then, I suggest you tell Grandpa Guan that you're only studying the properties of Chinese medicine, and not a doctor. That way, you'll only need to prescribe the right medicine for certain illnesses, and you won't need to go see a doctor yourself. Lin Yi said. Would this suggestion be of any help to you? Guanxin's eyes lit up at Lin Yi's words. Lin Yi's suggestion was indeed a good idea. If she followed Lin Yi's suggestion, it would be her interest, and in the future. Most importantly, she might even be able to help Lin Yi's company. Didn't Lin Yi's company research medicine? Guanxin was excited at the thought. But if she left, she wouldn't be able to see Lin Yi for a while, and that made her a little disappointed. Then I'll tell Grandpa this when I get back. Guanxin had already accepted Lin Yi's suggestion, and it was up to her grandpa to agree. Haha, I think it's possible. Lin Yi smiled. If I have time, you can learn from me, but I don't have the time to teach you systematically. Guanxin's heart was pounding when she heard the first half of Lin Yi's sentence, but she was disappointed when she heard the second half. Yeah, where would Lin Yi find the time to teach her? Then can I call you if there's something I don't know? But Lin Yi's words ignited a glimmer of hope in Guanxin's heart. Although she couldn't see Lin Yi often, if she could call Lin Yi once in a while, it would make her feel at ease. Of course, no need to be so polite with me. Lin Yi smiled. It's not like you won't come back when you're studying. I'll test you myself when we meet, and see how you're doing. Okay. Don't worry, I'll work hard. Guanxin's burden was resolved, and it was like a huge rock had been lifted off her shoulders. She felt a lot more relaxed. After dinner, Lin Yi drove Guanxin back to Guan Xuemin's place. It was already late, and Lin Yi planned to visit another day, but Guanxin mentioned that Lin Yi drove her back, so Guan Xuemin insisted on Lin Yi's visit. Since he couldn't refuse, Lin Yi could only follow Guanxin into the house. Yi, it's been a while. Guan Xuemin was very happy to see Lin Yi. Every time he had a medical discussion with Lin Yi, Guan Xuemin would benefit a lot from it. He'd long since treated Lin Yi as a good teacher and a good friend. Yeah, Grandpa Guan, I've been a bit busy lately, so I haven't been able to visit. Sorry about that, Lin Yi said apologetically. When he first came to Songshan, Guan Xuemin had helped him a lot, and Lin Yi had always remembered that. Without Guan Xuemin, Lin Yi's company wouldn't have been established so quickly. It's nothing. You have a lot of things to do, and I know that. Guan Xuemin nodded. How's Xiaoxiao's situation? Xuemin had seen Xiaoxiao's sickness. There was nothing he could do about it, and Xuemin knew that Lin Yi had been busy with Xiaoxiao's situation. Chapter 1453. Guan Xin didn't think that Lin Yi would be leaving as well. That meant that she wouldn't be able to say goodbye to Lin Yi when she left. Her initial excitement turned into disappointment. What's wrong, Xin? Are you sad that Lil Yi is leaving? Guan Xuemin joked. Guan Xin blushed, embarrassed. I'm not. I'm just a little surprised. Haha, I'm just joking. What do you think, Xin? Have you thought about what I told you? You're probably going to discuss it with Lil Yi today, right? Guan Xuemin waved his hand. He knew that his granddaughter was shy. What's the decision? Grandpa. I discussed it with Lin Yi, and this is what we've decided. Guan Xin told Guan Xuemin about Lin Yi's suggestion. With Guan Xuemin's intelligence, it was easy for him to understand his granddaughter's intentions. Studying medicine meant that she could go to Lin Yi's company to help Lin Yi. Guan Xuemin didn't know what to do with his granddaughter, but it was still better than being a nurse. All right, it's decided then, Guan Xuemin nodded. I'll talk to my old friend about this. He wants to take in a disciple to inherit his legacy before he enters that place. My old friend happens to specialize in medicine as well, so Xinxin's request is in line with his. Although Guan Xuemin's old friend was an expert in medicine, he was also skilled in other things like diagnosis and acupuncture. Guan Xin obviously wouldn't be able to learn that. Okay, thank you, Grandpa. Guan Xin was very happy to hear her grandpa agree. Lin Yi, on the other hand, asked curiously, that place? What kind of place is that? I'm not too sure about the specifics. This old friend of mine is a hermit among the common people. I heard that a sect that specializes in alchemy has taken a fancy to him and wants to recruit him. As for the specifics, it's a secret, so I didn't ask for details, Guan Xuemin said. Is that so? Since it was a secret, Lin Yi didn't plan to ask further. After all, Guan Xuemin didn't know. The two of them chatted about some medical matters before Lin Yi got up to leave. It was already very late, and Lin Yi couldn't stay there for too long. Missy had already sent him a few text messages asking when he would be back. While the aristocratic families were preparing for the aristocratic family meeting, all the hidden aristocratic families, sects, as long as they had the qualifications, would receive a blue letter with the symbol of an ice flower printed on it. For a time, all the hidden aristocratic families, sects, and gangs took action. In the hidden house Yu, the head of the house, Yu Xiaochen, held the letter in his hands with a serious expression. He spoke to Yu Liu, I'm going to see father immediately, I'll let him decide on this. Yu Liu paused. The head of house Yu was always in isolation, and this was something everyone in the hidden house knew about. Even the head of the house, Yu Xiaochen, wouldn't disturb him on small matters, unless it was something big. But now, it was clear that something big had happened. Yu Liu didn't know what the letter meant, but the content was definitely something big. What are you spacing out for? Get the car ready, Yu Xiaochen said. Yes. Yu Liu nodded and went to prepare the car. The place where the head of House Yu was in isolation was at the peak of a mountain outside of the Yu castle. The road to the peak was a mountain road that House Yu had built themselves. Even a practitioner like Yu Xiaochen could go up without a car, but it wasn't as convenient as a car. Soon, Yu Liu prepared the car and drove Yu Xiaochen up the mountain. How's Yu Huaxing? Anything? Yu Xiaochen asked. No, Yu 7, 8, and I took turns to monitor him, but we didn't find anything out of the ordinary. We didn't find anything special in his room, either. Yu Liu said. Could it be that he really came back empty-handed? Yu Xiaochen didn't trust Yu Huaxing, but he trusted Yu Liu and the others. These were all loyal disciples of House Yu, and they'd grown up in House Yu since young. That's hard to say. We'll monitor him for a few more days. Yu Liu said. With a car, they arrived at the top of the mountain very quickly. However, just as they reached the top of the mountain, they were stopped by a black-clothed man who suddenly appeared. This person casually tapped his finger and blocked the speeding jeep in front of him. It was as simple as pushing a toy car. Senior brother Yu Yi, the head of the house, is here. Yu Liu quickly stopped the car and spoke to the person who stopped them. This person was Yu Yi, the strongest disciple of House Yu. He was the second sky class after the head of House Yu. He was only sky class early phase, but he was already at the top of the world. But even so, when he heard that it was Yu Xiaochen in the car, his face turned serious and he cupped his fist. "Ah, it's the head of the house, I apologize for the offense. Please forgive me, head of the house. It's nothing, you've protected father's safety, and I'm very happy for that." Xiaochen got off the car and nodded to Yu Yi. From this, one could see that the hidden house Yu was completely different from the hidden house Zhao. Xiaochen's position in the hidden house Yu had already reached a point where he had complete control over everything. The head of house Yu basically didn't care about the matters of the house anymore, and even a master like Yu Yi had to treat him with respect. "It's my duty," Yu Yi said quickly. "Is father in isolation? I have something important to see him about," Xiaochen asked. "The head of the house just came out yesterday, and hasn't started yet." "Please, head of the house," Yu Yi said with a welcoming gesture. "Head of the house, I'll wait here." Yu Liu knew the rules other than the direct disciples of House Yu. Only Yu Yi could get close to Elder Yu's mountain peak. Naturally, he wouldn't follow him. Xiaochen nodded and followed Yu Yi into a place that looked like a cave, but it was a stone door with a fingerprint lock. As the head of House Yu, Xiaochen naturally knew the password after entering it. He walked in with familiarity. The cave didn't look like much from the outside, but it was a whole new world inside. The construction inside was very meticulous, and it had a retro feel to it. They came to the innermost room, and this was where Xiaochen's father, the head of House Yu, lived. Chapter 1454. It's Xiaochen, right? Did something important happen, coming to see me all of a sudden? Old Yu asked as Xiaochen and Yu Yi walked in. "Father, I do have something important to discuss with you," Xiaochen said solemnly. With that, he looked at Yu Yi. Yu Yi had always been by his father's side, so Xiaochen didn't know if he could trust him or not. "Go ahead, Yu Yi is someone I trust. He'll be a great help to you in the future." Elder Yu saw through Yu Xiaochen's intentions and waved his hand. Xiaochen nodded and passed the letter to his father. "Father, the Ice Palace has sent a letter. The Ice Palace's test is starting soon." "Oh." "The Ice Palace's trial is starting again." Even someone as calm as Elder Yu had a look of surprise on his face after hearing Yu Xiaochen's word. He took a deep breath and opened the letter, reading it quickly. "This is our chance to hide House Yu. I didn't think that the Ice Palace's test would start again. When I was young, I participated in the Ice Palace's test once, and you weren't around then. After that, I became an outer disciple of the Ice Palace, and it's been 5 years, and I've learned a lot." Xiaochen naturally knew what his father had been through when he was young, and he knew what the Ice Palace's test was for. The Ice Palace's trial was an invitation sent out by one of the ancient sects, the Ice Palace. It was a trial set up for the young experts. After the trial, the ones who won would get the chance to stay in the Ice Palace and become an outer sect disciple. Once they became an outer sect disciple, their future would be limitless. Even if it was just an outer disciple, it was more than enough. Outer disciples, as the name suggested, meant that they could stay in the Ice Palace to train, but they didn't have a master to guide them. These people could get some spiritual medicine from time to time, but other than training, they had to take on the daily chores of the Ice Palace, such as fetching water, chopping firewood, patrolling the mountains, cleaning, cooking, and so on. The people of the Ice Palace would also guide these outer disciples from time to time. These outer sect disciples, each of them had to cultivate for 5 years. After 5 years, unless there was a particularly talented disciple who could stay and become an inner sect disciple, the others would have to leave. But even if it was only 5 years, the chi in the Ice Palace wasn't something a normal place could compare to. Old Ancestor Yu's rise started in those 5 years, turning him from a golden class late phase peak to a mystic late phase peak in 5 years. Although this kind of cultivation speed wasn't the fastest, it was still outstanding because there were people who had broken through to the Earth rank. Of course, if old Yu knew how long Lingshan took to break through from golden class early phase peak to mystic class early phase, he'd probably be pissed to death. "Yes, father, that's why I came to see you as soon as I got the letter," Xiaochen said. "The requirements have been raised, But our House Yu still qualified. The requirements have been raised from Golden Class mid-phase to Mystic Class early phase, and the deposit has been raised to 100 million as well. Old Yu said, but that's not a big deal. Yes, but the letter also mentioned that there are 2 types of rewards. Which one should we choose? Xiao Chen nodded. The first type was already mentioned by Old Yu, and that was to become an outer disciple of the Ice Palace. They'd train in the Ice Palace for 5 years, and they'd receive some of the Ice Palace's elixirs and training guidance. But how much they could learn would depend on themselves. The second type of reward was the right to exchange for treasures. To put it bluntly, if you wanted something, and the Ice Palace happened to have it, then you could use treasures or money of equivalent value to exchange for it. But couldn't they just exchange it? Why did they have to pay 100 million and pass the test to exchange? Wasn't that a little harsh? In fact, it was that harsh. You may have a heaven and earth treasure in your hands, but this kind of heaven and earth treasure may not be of any use to your family. It's just a priceless treasure in your hands. It won't be easy for you to exchange it for the heaven and earth treasure you want. Similarly, if you have money in your hands, you can't buy the heavenly treasures that you want so easily. That's why they're so domineering. If you want to trade, you have to follow their rules. Of course, one shouldn't underestimate this trading right. If the winner didn't choose to stay in the Ice Palace as an outer disciple, then they'd get a trading right. They could trade with the Ice Palace for what they wanted, and it was a permanent deal. If they didn't want it, they could trade it later. But the thing you wanted to trade had to be agreed to by the Ice Palace as well. If you wanted something that the Ice Palace needed as well, then they wouldn't give it to you. Naturally, it's the first. The second reward method, unless there's something the house really needs, no one would want to take advantage of it. Old Ancestor Yu smiled. I'm afraid all the houses are going for the first reward method. That's right. If it wasn't something they really needed, who would spend 100 million to get the right to trade? Plus, they might not even be able to get it. Xiao Chen nodded. Then, Father, who do you think should go? Yu Bing and Yu Shan. Elder Yu said, we'll send 2 people this time. Let them go. Yu Bing as well? Xiao Chen paused, naturally approving of Yu Shan going to the Ice Palace's test. Yu Shan was the son of his second brother, and he was very talented. But there were always fights in every big house, and Yu Shan was talented, so naturally he wanted to be the third heir of House Yu. But from a selfish point of view, Xiao Chen still wanted his son Yu Bing to be the next heir. Chapter 1455. Yes. Father, I know what's important. Xiao Chen nodded. That secret, no one knows. That old thing doesn't know the truth either, but I'm afraid that even if we don't say it, the ancient sects will suspect us. Didn't that thing 19 years ago prove this point? They've seen something. You don't have to worry about that. No matter how talented Yu Ning is, no one will be able to see anything without the inheritance. Old Yu said faintly, what you need to do is do your best to welcome this glory. Once House Yu has 4 Sky Class Masters, and if you can break through to Sky Class 2, then we'll have 5. Even in the ancient sects, we'll be considered strong. At that time, House Yu won't be a hidden house anymore, but an ancient house. With that, Elder Yu couldn't help but start laughing heartily. He'd been waiting for this day for a long time. He'd been looking forward to the glory of House Yu. Yes, Father, I understand. Xiao Chen nodded solemnly. Yu Bing's talent isn't bad, but if he wants to break through to Sky Class, he needs luck, just like you and I. Yu Ning and her, however. They're people who can break through to Sky Class without a doubt. The core of House Yu must be controlled by Sky Class Masters, and we can let Yu Bing handle the family affairs. Old Yu said, right, how's the chi gathering pill thing? Father, it failed. Xiao Chen's face flashed with disappointment as he said helplessly, it's fine if it failed, we'll talk about it in the future. Old Yu said, don't put too much importance on this, it'll affect your normal training. Yes, Father. Xiao Chen nodded quickly. There's one more thing you need to know, that the test will be dangerous, and Yu Bing and Yu Shan might lose their lives. Old Ancestor Yu sighed as if he was reminiscing about the past. Everyone, for the sake of the final score, even friends and teammates would turn against each other. Everyone knows that this is a rare opportunity, so you have to be mentally prepared. Ah. Xiao Chen startled. He only knew that passing the test would give him great benefits, But he didn't know that it would be dangerous as well. And so he quickly asked, "Does that mean that Yu Bing might be in danger if he goes?" Then, "Little Chen, your thoughts aren't steady enough. As a family head, you should look at the family's future and benefits. Selfishness is not something a family head should have. Yu Bing is my descendant, and so is Yu Shan, Yu Ning and the others. Old ancestor, you said, but you only have Yu Bing in your eyes, not Yu Shan. Please forgive me, father." Xiaochen's heart skipped a beat as he realized that he'd just broken a taboo. If House Yu wanted to develop, the head of the house couldn't be selfish. Only those who were capable could rise to the top, and that was the only way to ensure the house's prosperity. Once the head of the house showed selfishness, then the house would be in danger. Yu Bing and Yu Shan are both quite talented. If they can pass the test this time, then the training in the Ice Palace will benefit them a lot. If they don't pass, then they can only blame themselves for not being strong enough. If they can't stand out from the other participants, then how would they have the right to take care of the entire House Yu? Elder Yu was quite open-minded. "For the sake of the house, we have to sacrifice what we have to." "Yes, father, I understand." Xiaochen nodded firmly. "Yu Bing and Yu Shan. This time, it's all up to you." At the same time, House Yu wasn't the only one who received the invitation. There was the Hidden House Jiao, the Hidden House Pai, and some other sects and gangs. As long as they were qualified, they would receive the invitation. Other than the 9 aristocratic families, almost all the other forces had received the Ice Palace's invitation to the trial. It wasn't that the Ice Palace purposely excluded the 9 noble houses, but because none of the noble houses' young generation were mystics. Only House Yu had mystics, but if the Hidden House Yu wanted the common House Yu to participate, they wouldn't need to send an invitation. And so, the Ice Palace ignored these noble houses. "Chichi, you'll have to rely on yourself for this Ice Palace test. You can't always carry out missions under my protection." An old man said seriously to a girl in front of him, "The Ice Palace test doesn't allow outsiders to protect you, or the test would lose its meaning. Don't worry, Grandpa Tombstone, I'll be careful. I'll definitely get the treasure exchange rights." Chichi clenched her fist and nodded solemnly. "You're a mystic early phase physical practitioner, but you're still too inexperienced. Physical practitioners lack battle experience, that's a fatal weakness. Plus, you're a physical master who specializes in Qigong, so you're weak in terms of attack power. I'm really worried." Tombstone sighed, but there was nothing he could do. After all, the Ice Palace's trial was a rare opportunity. If he didn't participate, he wouldn't know when he would have to wait for the next trial. "It's fine, I'm good at Qigong. If I can't win, I can run," Chichi said with a comforting smile. "When I get enough points, I'll run to a safe place and hide." "That's the only way." Tombstone nodded. "Remember, if your ambush doesn't work, run. Don't keep fighting. Not to mention the fact that the opponent is a mystic class master. Even if it's a normal golden class master, you may not be his match if you face him head on." "I understand," Chichi said, but she was still unconvinced. Why couldn't she, a mystic early phase physical practitioner, beat a golden class? She wasn't that bad, was she? A similar scene was happening in the Hidden House Jiao as well. The young head of House Jiao, Guangyin, was pacing back and forth in front of his father's isolation room, making Elder Bai dizzy. "Young master, the head of the house is in solitary meditation, and he won't be coming out anytime soon. Why don't you take charge of this? The Ice Palace test is important, but it's not as important as the head of the house," Elder Bai said helplessly as he looked at the frowning Guangyin. "Elder Bai, what do you think?" Guangyin couldn't make up his mind, so he asked. Elder Bai was right, the Ice Palace test was important, but it wasn't as important as his father breaking through to Sky Class. But he couldn't make the decision himself, and the only person he could discuss it with was Elder Bai. Chapter 1456. Chapter 1454, Ice Palace Test, Part 2. But, the key is, who should we send? Zhao Guangyin was hesitant about this matter. Right now, among the younger generation of House Zhao, only his third brother's son, Zhao Chikuan, had broken through Golden Class and entered Mystic. His and Xiaojin's son was still young, only Golden Class, a bit away from Mystic. Zhao Qibing, on the other hand, wasn't even close, so they could only send his third brother's son, Zhao Chikuan, or a disciple who didn't share the surname of Zhao. There were a few mystic masters who met the requirements of the test. Originally, if the Ice Palace's trial was held a few years later, I would have let Chibing go. But now, I can only let Chitan go. Elder Bai said, the others aren't the core of House Zhao, so we need to consider their loyalty. That, if we let Chitan go, in the future, Guangyin was worried about his two sons. What if Chikuan broke through Mystic to Earth class? Then he'd be the heir of House Zhao, and that wasn't something Guangyin wanted to see. But if they didn't let him go and let the other disciples go, it was just as Elder Bai said. They were still young, and their loyalty wasn't that strong yet. What if they grew up and decided not to return to House Zhao? What would they do then? This put Guangyin in a difficult position. Young master, this is a chance for House Zhao, and we can't give it up. Right now, only Chitan is suitable, and if the old head comes out, he'll probably make the same decision. Elder Bai said, these few years, I'll work hard to train Chibing, and make him an Earth class as soon as possible. I'll do my best. But if Chitan can become an Earth class, then we'll just have to leave it to fate. House Zhao's future will still be decided by the strongest. That's the only way, Guangyin sighed. Although he wasn't willing to accept this decision, he had no other choice. Then let Chitan go. Send a more loyal mystic class disciple to go with Chitan. Every house and power had two places. Guangyin didn't want Chitan to succeed, but he didn't want him to die. After all, Chitan's aptitude was outstanding, and it was very important to the Zhao family's future. Now that he had a helper to accompany him to participate in the trial, his chances of success could be guaranteed. Even if he couldn't pass the trial, staying alive should not be a problem. The hidden house Pai, on the other hand, sent Pai Zhishan and Pai Zhihai to join the test. The two brothers didn't fight against each other. Pai Zhishan wanted to be the head of the house, but Pai Zhihai didn't. He was only interested in martial arts, and nothing else mattered to him. The two brothers had a good relationship, so House Pai let Pai Zhishan and Pai Zhihai team up for the test. This way, they could increase their chances of winning. In Chu's villa, Lin Yi bid farewell to Kang, Xiao Fen, Fatty Lai, and the others. He was about to embark on his journey to the extreme north. These 2 days, Lin Yi packed his things and bought some necessities for his long journey. Boss Lin Yi, aren't you going to say goodbye to Sun Jingyi? Chen Tian had been in isolation for the past few days, and his iron fist arts finally broke through to mystic early phase. He could finally come out. But even Chen Tian was told by Lin Yi not to spread the news, including House Wu. Lin Yi was going to cause trouble for House Yu during the Noble House meeting, and he couldn't give House Yu time to prepare. If House Yu knew about Chen Tian's breakthrough, they would definitely be on guard. It wouldn't be good if they connected the dots. After all, Chen Tian was crippled by Uncle Zhu, and this wasn't a secret. The news had spread to all the noble houses, and old Wu was crying every day. Chen Tian was the hope of House Wu, and Wu Gongao had high hopes for him. He didn't expect that Chen Tian would be heavily injured. Yet, Gongao didn't dare seek revenge after learning of Chen Tian's injury. It was the hidden House Zhao, and House Wu wouldn't dare seek revenge unless they didn't want to live anymore. Seeking revenge from the hidden House Zhao was the same as seeking death. After Chen Tian was injured, there was no news of him, and Chen Tian hung up the phone, not contacting Gongao at all. He didn't want to hurt Gongao, but what Chen Tian didn't know was that the news had already been leaked. The two Xiao family brothers who had a grudge against him wouldn't hide this for him. Gongao felt that his grandson was stupid, standing up for Lin Yi's woman and getting heavily injured. Now that he was the boss, what was the use? Something happened, and they disappeared without a trace. If it wasn't for Gongao preparing for the noble house meeting, he would have come to Songshan to look for Chen Tian himself. Of course, in House Wu, the happiest person was Wu Chengdi. Chen Tian was crippled, and no one knew if he was alive or dead. This was a good chance for him to rise to the top. He had been eyeing the position of House Wu's heir for a long time, and now he finally had the chance. As far as he was concerned, even if Chen Tian wasn't dead and was found, he wouldn't be a threat to him anymore. Grandpa, I'm sorry for your loss. The important thing now is the Noble House meeting, and we need to stay in the Noble House meeting. We'll talk about other things after the meeting. Chen Tian comforted Gongao, "The family still has me, and I'll work hard to get revenge for my brother." Gongao nodded sadly. He didn't like Chen Tian, but he had to focus on training him. But in his heart, he still had some hope. He hoped that Chen Tian's injuries weren't that serious, and that he could recover. After all, physical practitioners didn't need meridians that much. As long as Chen Tian's hands weren't damaged, he could still practice Iron Fist. But Chen Tian was right, the most important thing now was to stay in the noble house meeting. If House Wu was finished, then it would be over. Luckily, Gongao was mystic mid-phase, and he was the in-law of House Liu. He wouldn't be in too much danger at the noble house meeting. In the Chu villa, Lin Yi heard Chen Tian's words and thought of Sun Jingyi. In fact, Lin Yi didn't think of Sun Jingyi before. After all, Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi didn't have much interaction, and most of the time, he was just a shield. After Chen Tian gave up on Sun Jingyi, Lin Yi didn't have much interaction with her. Chapter 1457. Chapter 1455. The wrong person. With that thought, Lin Yi called Sun Jingyi. Wu Chentian stopped harassing Sun Jingyi recently, and Sun Jingyi was quite happy at first, but as time went by, Sun Jingyi realized that she hadn't heard from Lin Yi for a long time. It wasn't that Sun Jingyi liked Lin Yi that much, but Sun Jingyi felt that Lin Yi was a special person, and it was interesting when she was with him. It would be nice to have him as a friend. But now that Wu Chentian stopped harassing her, and Sun Jingyi didn't have an excuse to look for Lin Yi, Sun Jingyi suddenly realized how boring life was. Before Wu Chentian harassed her, before she knew Lin Yi, Sun Jingyi didn't think much of it. She was busy with the company, and her life was fulfilling. But now, thinking about the things she did with Lin Yi, Sun Jingyi felt very excited. Sun Jingyi was a multifaceted person. On the surface, she looked dignified, the image of a strong businesswoman, but in her bones, she was a little rebellious and crazy. Stealing the recordings with Lin Yi, tricking Wu Chentian with Lin Yi, Sun Jingyi felt very good. Of course, when everyone knew that Wu Chentian was Lin Yi and Gauden's follower, Sun Jingyi didn't know. She was a part of House Sun, but she didn't have any information channels. She herself didn't have much contact with her family, and she only saw her brother, Sun Yikai, once a while ago. The phone rang, and Sun Jingyi thought it was a colleague, so she picked it up. "Hello, I'm Sun Jingyi." "Jingyi, it's me, the great thief." Lin Yi was about to go look for the fire spirit's fruit, and his mood was quite good. Thinking back to the first time Sun Jingyi called him, Lin Yi couldn't help but make a joke. "Great bandits. You've got the wrong person. I don't know any great bandits." Sun Jingyi froze. She subconsciously thought that the person had called the wrong number. But wait, the person seemed to call her Jingyi, so he should know her. This voice was also very familiar. The next moment, Sun Jingyi reacted. "Lin Yi. It's me." Lin Yi smiled and said, "We haven't talked for a long time. How are you?" "It's all right. That's it. I'm busy every day." Not knowing why, Sun Jingyi was particularly happy after hearing Lin Yi's voice. "What about you? How have you been lately? Have you forgotten about me, this half-lover? You don't even want to date me?" "Ha!" Lin Yi smiled. "Isn't that just an act? How do you date me? You want me to touch you? You idiot." Sun Jingyi blushed. "Why are you thinking about this? You already have 2 girlfriends. Do you still need me?" "Yeah. I have a girlfriend." Thinking back to the time when he, Xiao Xiao, and Sun Jingyi messed with Wu Chentian, Lin Yi felt nostalgic. "But Xiao Xiao is unconscious." "Ah, she's unconscious. What happened?" Sun Jingyi was shocked. She had a good impression of Xiao Xiao. The two of them worked together to mess with Wu Chentian. Hearing this news, how could Sun Jingyi not be worried? "Xiao Xiao, she." Lin Yi told Sun Jingyi about Xiao Xiao, including how they met and how they got together. He told her everything. It wasn't a secret, so there was no harm in telling her. "Ah, so many things happened between you and Xiao Xiao?" Sun Jingyi was shocked after hearing Lin Yi's words. She didn't think that the optimistic and weird girl would be so sick and have one foot in the grave. But at that time, she didn't show anything. So, this trip is also to find medicine for her. Lin Yi said, "I might have to leave for a while." If you have any trouble, look for Wu Chentian. Sun Jingyi was confused after hearing Lin Yi's words. Look for Wu Chentian? I can't even avoid him. Why would I look for him? You're not joking, are you? Wu Chentian didn't bother you recently, right? I've taken him in as my follower, and he said that you are his sister-in-law, so naturally, he won't bother you anymore. Lin Yi smiled. Huh? Wu Chentian became your follower? Sun Jingyi couldn't understand. Wu Chentian was such an arrogant guy. How did he become Lin Yi's follower? Sure, Lin Yi was amazing sometimes, but it wasn't enough for Chentian to call him boss, was it? Do you want to talk to him? He's right next to me. Lin Yi heard Sun Jingyi's surprise and asked. Then, we'll let him answer the phone. Jingyi was still doubting the truthfulness of the situation. How was this guy so capable? Letting the heir of the Wu family be his underling was a little unimaginable. For you. Lin Yi passed the phone to Chentian, who was eager to try. Jingyi, it's me. I've been bothering you before. I'm sorry. Chentian had wanted to apologize to Sun Jingyi for a long time, but he didn't have the chance. Especially after he became a mystic early phase after his injury, he worshipped Lin Yi even more. In his eyes, Lin Yi was a super strong person. So, he didn't dare to disrespect Lin Yi's woman. Wu Chentian, are you okay? Sun Jingyi blushed when Chentian called her Jingyi. Don't call me that. I'm okay. Ah. No, I'm sick. I'm very sick right now. I got beaten up, and I can't even get out of bed. Chentian suddenly remembered that Lin Yi had told him to keep it a secret and not announce his recovery, so he quickly changed his words. What are you talking about? Sun Jingyi didn't understand. All right, I'll say it. Lin Yi helplessly took the phone and said to Sun Jingyi, don't spread the news that Chentian has recovered. He's a mystic, a dual practitioner. If you run into any trouble after I leave, you can contact him. Recovered? When did he get injured? Sun Jingyi blinked. He's a mystic. Really? Jingyi pinched her thighs. Was she dreaming when she answered the phone? Why did it feel so unreal? Chapter 1458. Chapter 1456. Lin Yi's farewell. I had a falling out with my family. It's not like you don't know. We rarely contact each other. Sun Jingyi shook her head. What happened? Lin Yi told Sun Jingyi about Wu Chentian, and Sun Jingyi finally understood what happened. She was even more shocked. You're saying that Wu Chentian was crippled and heavily injured, and you used a secret technique to turn him into a mystic dual practitioner? Sun Jingyi really didn't know what to say. Was she shocked or envious? Mystic division, a dual practitioner at that. Even among the older generation of noble houses, he would be at the top, not to mention the younger generation. That's basically it. Lin Yi said, but don't tell anyone about this. There's only a limited number of people who know about it, including your family. I'm too lazy to tell them. Sun Jingyi naturally wouldn't tell her family. But, you're so strong. Lin Yi, you're not just a great thief, are you? Great thief is actually very strong, it's just that you haven't realized it yet. Lin Yi smiled. Then, can you help me increase my strength? Sun Jingyi couldn't help but ask. This temptation was too hard to resist. What class are you at now? Lin Yi was startled. First level. I wonder what class it is. Sun Jingyi was startled as well, only then did she realize that her heart sutra was different from others. Your family's heart sutra is too weird. If you want to try it out, then wait for me to come back, but I won't take responsibility if anything goes wrong. I've never had any experience with that kind of heart sutra of yours. Lin Yi remembered that House Sun's heart sutra was a special healing type, so he wasn't too confident. Then we'll talk about it when you come back. Sun Jingyi was a little disappointed. After ending the call with Sun Jingyi, Lin Yi was about to set off. He greeted the old man at home and asked about Gaodan and Yuanyuan's situation. Lin Yi only relaxed after learning that they were doing well. If Gaodan was fine, having him go with you would be a good choice, but it seems like he'll need to rest for a while. Old Lin said, the spring water can't be carried around. Once it's out of the fountain for a while, it'll lose its effect. This limits Gaodan's movements. Yeah. Lin Yi also sighed and said, unless he can find that kind of elixir or break through to the heaven stage and use the heaven stage true qi to nourish the Jiyu poison in his body, There is no other way. Lin Yi and old Lin had been looking into Gaodan's matter, but they didn't get any results. There were only two ways to make Gaodan go back to normal. One was to find another elixir and have old Lin make another type of Jiu poison to balance the Jiu poison in his body. After reaching a certain balance, Gaodan wouldn't need to drink the spring water anymore. The second way was to break through to Sky Class and use the Sky Class True Qi to nourish the Jiu poison in place of the spring water. But this breakthrough had to be done in one go, or else the Golden, Mystic, and Earth class would all be instantly absorbed by the Jiu poison due to the lack of Qi. Not only would it not achieve the goal of nourishing the Jiu poison, but it would also be a waste of time. In the end, he would still need to drink the spring water. But right now, neither of these two methods worked. That elixir was said to be extinct, and there was no substitute for it. Sky Class was an unreachable dream for Gaodan. Even Lin Yi wasn't Sky Class yet, so how could Gaodan break through to Sky Class? But there's hope now. Since you can mass-produce masters of the same level as you, then when you raise Gaodan to Sky Class, there won't be this restriction. Old Lin naturally knew about Lin Yi's stuff, and Lin Yi never hid it from old Lin. In theory, it's possible, but I don't know if it'll work in practice. After all, it's only possible to break through from Golden Class to Mystic, but it might not work when it comes to Earth Class, Lin Yi said worriedly. Yeah, we can only take it one step at a time. After all, as his strength increases, the difficulty of breaking through to the next level will increase. It won't be so easy anymore, old Lin said. The farewell with Tang Yun, the Miss, and Shu was a little depressing. Although everyone looked happy, when they thought about how Lin Yi might be gone for a few months, they couldn't bear to part with him. All right, don't be sad. I'm going to find a cure for Xiao Xiao. It's not like I'm not coming back. Lin Yi looked at Tang Yun and smiled. Come, let's say goodbye with a kiss. You. Tang Yun blushed a little. If it was only Lin Yi, Tang Yun would definitely say yes, but there was the Miss and Shu beside her. Naturally, Tang Yun was embarrassed. The three of them had passed the stage of jealousy, and they all knew what was going on. There was no need to show anything. Oh, I want it, I want it. Shield bro, quick, kiss me. Yushu raised her hand and volunteered. Shu, don't mess around. Meng Yaro didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Lin Yi and Tang Yun were flirting. What were you doing? Wouldn't that ruin the atmosphere? Even Tang Yun couldn't help but giggle. Then you can kiss Shu. Tang Yun didn't hate Yushu anymore. They'd been together for a long time, and she'd gotten used to it. Even Xiao Xiao had accepted her, so Tang Yun wouldn't mind another Yushu. Plus, Tang Yun knew very well whether or not there was something going on between the two. At most, the two were a little flirty, but they definitely didn't become a couple. Meng Yao's thoughts were all over the place, and Tang Yun couldn't be bothered to care about that. However, little Shu's interjection came at the right time, making the originally dull atmosphere livelier. Ha! I'm leaving. You guys study hard at home and try to get into a good university, Lin Yi smiled. Although Peng Zhan had made the arrangements, getting into a university and paying for it was a different feeling. Lin Yi was driving a modified Grand Cherokee that Tianlong prepared for him, with a modified ice coffin in the back. This kind of modified car might be a little troublesome on the road, but Tianlong had clearly thought about it. The car had a special license plate, and there were some documents in the car, ensuring that Lin Yi could get to his destination smoothly.